A very good afternoon and welcome to the Club World Cup live here on LFS this afternoon as we kick off the knockout stages of the competition. Tonight we watch two South American sides, Palmeiras and Botafogo, looking for a place in the last eight of this competition, and Botafogo's wonderful performance in the group alongside PSG Atletico Madrid means they are one of the top favourites to be going through and progressing from the round of 16. But Palmeiras know them very well and they top their group in Group A, so it will be a tough task for whoever will progress tonight. Two sides who know each other very, very well, of course, being both from South America, will know each other from the Copa Libertadores, and we'll see how they perform against each other this evening. Later this evening, on our first day of knockout action, 9 o'clock kickoff between Benfica and Chelsea as they take place. Two European sides facing off. 9 o'clock, a little later than usual, here this evening. On LFS. And then tomorrow we continue with our round of 16 coverage as PSG take on Inter Miami. Of course, Lionel Messi against his former club, and Flamengo taking on Bayern Munich. So a cracking setup for our first half of round of 16 action. We're with you right through to Wednesday, of course, until the competition goes into the quarter-final stage. These are the fixtures for all of our round of 16 games, in order of when they will be played, of course, over the next 4 days or so. So Palmeiras take on Botafogo tonight. Benfica Chelsea is 9 o'clock this evening. Tomorrow PSG take on Inter Miami. Flamengo face Bayern Munich. And then on Monday evening, one game on Monday, Inter Milan take on Fluminense. In the early hours of Tuesday morning, Manchester City face Al Hilal. On Tuesday evening, Real Madrid take on Juventus, followed by an over-the-night game to finish us off on early hours of Wednesday morning. Borussia Dortmund take on Monterrey. So a lot of European representation in this one. All but one game has a European battler in it, and is the game that we watch this evening. It's the only game without a European side competing in the round of 16, and two all-European battles, as you can see, Real Madrid, Juventus and Benfica, Chelsea. So a very exciting round of 16 to come over the next few days, and believe it or not, we're not too far away. We are just 15 days away from the final, just less than around about 2 weeks away from the final. It will fly in, let me tell you, over the next 2 weeks or so. It's been an incredible week of action. If you didn't see, we had some technical issues the other evening, which is a bit disappointing when Juventus took on Manchester City. What a cracking game that was. City winning by 5-2 to claim top spot, of course, in Group G, and that is why they will play Al Hilal, the runners-up of Group H. But back to this game, as I said, Palmeiras against Botafogo. Palmeiras winning Group A, and Botafogo runners-up in Group B, just behind, of course, Paris Saint-Germain, who won Group B, but of course Botafogo with a big victory over PSG was their crucial point of the season, of the campaign so far, and they will be hoping they can produce somewhat of a performance like that this evening against fellow South American side Palmeiras, who we haven't watched in this competition yet, but I'm excited to see them this afternoon. We've switched screens. We had a bit of a formatting issue with the way things were the other day, so we've rejigged a little bit to make sure we have the best content we can for you, and we are sorting that out. Let's have a look at the two teams then for this one, starting with the team in green this evening in Palmeiras, the winners of Group A. They start with goalkeeper Waverton in goal, a back four of Jai, Gustavo Gomez, of course, their captain, Bruno Fuchs and Joaquin Piqueres in the back four. In midfield is Richard Rios alongside Alan, two Alans between the two teams today. Alan in the midfield for Palmeiras, and then Emiliano Martinez, not the goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez in midfield, with a front three of Mauricio off the left. On the right hand side is Estevao, and leading the line, Vitor Roque, leading the line for Palmeiras this evening. For Botafogo, we know this side a little bit more. They start with Jean in goal, a back four of Vitinho, Jair, Barbosa and Teles. That is Alexander Barbosa in the back line. In midfield, Danilo Barbosa alongside Alan and, of course, the captain Marlon Freitas in the midfield for Botafogo. Up front, Artur off the right, Savarino off the left, and leading the line Igor Jesus, who will be heading to Nottingham Forest for the domestic, for his new club after this tournament is done and dusted. He's at centre forward for Botafogo tonight, and that man who scored that crucial goal against PSG in that game. Jérôme Brissard is our VAR for this one from France, and Francois Letessier is our referee for this evening's game. It's at Lincoln Financial Field. It is Palmeiras against Botafogo to get the knockout stages of the FIFA Club World Cup underway, and kickoff is next. Good evening, welcome in for this one this evening between Palmeiras and Botafogo in the Club World Cup round of 16. Thank you very much for joining us for this one this evening. Another little rejigging of the formatting. On the left hand side of your screen up here, that is the teams, but we'll have the match stats, who's scored, kind of how many shots, possession, that type of thing. The match map is in the bottom left corner, and then the games that are coming up are on the right hand side of your screen. Don't forget though to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated, and we thank each and every one of you who's joining us this evening. Thank you very much. As Arab as well in the chat, and everybody getting involved in the chat, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It is set up to be a cracker tonight. Lincoln Financial Field, the home of the Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, and we watch two South American sides, the only all-South American tie from the round of 16, as they face off for a place in the quarter-finals of this competition. We're about to get underway. Palmeiras, of course, in their green shirts and white shorts, and Botafogo in their away strip, I believe, or actually their home strip. It just looks a little darker from the back. They're in black and white, of course, as expected. And we're underway then at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. And the group stage is done and dusted. It is now knockout football. It is win and you're in, lose and you're out. It's that simple. There are no if, buts and maybes. It is pretty conclusive. There is no choice but to win from here on out if you want to stay in the competition. And we'll see whether our two sides tonight can put their names in the hat, which one of them will put their name in the hat for the quarter-finals. Of course, the winners of this game will play on the 4th of July in the UK at 9 p.m. on the 4th of July, or in the US, sorry, July the 4th, which is next Friday evening, but it will be the early hours of Saturday morning, July the 5th, that we will have that in the UK, of course. That is when the winners of this one will play the winners of match 50, which is our later game, Benfica against Chelsea. So we will see who will face each other in the quarterfinals by the end of tonight, when we are with that one. Samuel in the chat, thank you very much for joining us as well. The Arab says you're going to travel in two, so I think I'll be missing the Inter Milan v Fluminense. No problem, don't worry about that. Samuel says it was 50% dead by the end of the game last LASG the other night, but I have recovered. Fair enough. 2-1 Palmeiras, says Samuel, as Botafogo have the ball trying to find Artur, but the man who was trying to play that pass was brought down. That's Alex Teles, and he was fouled, so that's going to be a free kick. Oh, so Harab's going for a high-scoring game. 4-3. I mean, I would love that, but these two sides very strong defensively from what we've seen in the competition so far. They know how to lock out an opponent defensively, so you aren't always guaranteed goals when it comes to these two, but we do expect to see a very competitive match between them tonight. As Vitinho tries to force it through the lines, but look at the breakaway now, chance for Palmeiras as they break down the left-hand side. It is Roque, lays it off to the left-hand side for Estevao, but then the ball into the midfield is a little bit loose, and it was Richard Rios that was trying to break away, but he was absolutely hacked down, and it's going to be a yellow card for the player that fouled him. We'll see this again. Yeah, Rios trying to drag the ball in and sliding in. Comes the Botafogo midfielder. Oh, that's really late there. And it's going to be a yellow card for Alexander Barbosa, the centre-back for Botafogo. Yeah, it was a late challenge. He came sliding through that kind of scissor-type challenge. And Richard Rios just getting some treatment, getting some water put on his left ankle. That is the one that seems to have taken the most of the impact in that challenge. And he went down screaming. Yeah, it was just a late, lazy challenge from Barbosa. And kind of slid on his right foot, which caused the contact. But he was going in full pelt there. And Richard Rios is down, receiving treatment at the moment. So a feisty start in this one. Too early. Very extreme free kick moments, but Richard Rios certainly in a not a great way at the moment. But the referee was quick to pull out the yellow card, was certain of it, the French referee, that it was a yellow card challenge. And there's Renato Paiva, the Botafogo head coach, hoping to see his side perform well this evening and see if they can get through. There's the head coach of Palmeiras, Abel Ferreira, as well, having a seat. Watching on. Two very well capable sides in this competition. And we said it this competition will be about South America v Europe. We know that that will be the case eventually if it kind of works out like that, or it could be just an all-European final when it comes to that. But I think these two sides, they can both go far in this competition, and that's why this makes it so competitive for this game, because whoever progresses can be a real threat to the latter stages. Of course, whoever they will play in the next round, either Chelsea or Benfica, will be incredibly tough, but I think they're well capable of dealing with that pressure. I know, especially from Botafogo's point of view, beating the European champions, yes, it might be a one-off and you kind of win that game on a one-off basis, but you still beat the European champions, and that's a massive confidence booster for a competition like this, certainly when it is kind of fast-tracked, as Richard Rios is back to his feet now after receiving that treatment, so it's good to see that he's okay to continue. Samuel says, no predictor text to my phone, so it messes up when I type fast. No problem. I'll try and decipher if there is any errors. I mean, sometimes autocorrect is actually worse than typing it yourself, but there we are. As Arab says, Palmeiras are very good, but the difference is that Botafogo had a very harder group, also winning against PSG and nearly won against Atleti. Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. I completely agree. It will give them massive confidence, but as I say, Palmeiras are a massive threat in and of their own. Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you, Zarab. They're a very good side, Botafogo, and taking down two European giants in Atletico Madrid and PSG is not to be sniffed at. Not to take any kind of negatives out of. So a free kick here for Palmeiras. Around about 28 yards out. Rios is over it after he was the one that was fouled, along with two others. It looks like Richard Rios is eyeing this one up here. It is Rios, but he hits it straight at the wall low. Works it wide. Out to the right-hand side here. They try and work it in. Martinez, and the deflection takes it behind for a corner to Palmeiras. It was a little bit kind of an anticlimactic free kick, really, from Richard Rios in the end, as the ball just struck low and hard right at the wall, and then he worked it wide to find Martinez, and then that deflected off a Botafogo defender for a corner. First corner of the game, and it goes Palmeiras' way as they deliver, cleared away off the front post. One back on that right-hand side, though. by the corner taker. Right-footed delivery into the box, but straight into the hands of the Botafogo keeper, Jean, who gets a good, strong claim to that ball. But there is that threat from Palmeiras, and we've seen that threat so far in this game. Paramus United champions. Says, let's go Palmeiras. 3-1 at Palmeiras is Paramus's prediction. So 3 very different predictions. 3-1, 2-1 and 4-3 from the predictions we've received so far. Thank you very much for getting involved in the chat and getting your predictions in. Keep them coming in if you've got them. So far on the poll in the chat, by the way, the poll, 57 votes on the poll. Thank you very much for voting. Keep those votes coming in. And 59%, 59% of the vote is saying Palmeiras will progress to the quarterfinals. And of course the other 41% saying that Botafogo. So it's not a clean decision from either set. That ball over the top from Palmeiras has gone a little bit wayward. Nicely controlled by Barbosa. Barbosa plays it through. And that's a little bit of a wasteful ball from Savarino there. Trying to square it across because he was in an offside position. And the free kick goes the way of Palmeiras. A little bit stop-start this first 8-9 minutes or so of this one. Just trying to figure each other out in that long stoppage for Richard Rios' injury. Here he is, Rios, Colombian, swinging the ball out to the far left-hand side here. Nicely taken down by Estevao. He's got the overlap. Overlap has come in and the cross has gone all the way through the 6-yard box. I think it was Roque, the centre forward, that got some sort of connection to it. It was a good play, very good play by Palmeiras. Rios with a switch ball. Estevao takes it down on the left-hand side. The overlap from Piquerez. Piquerez with the cross with his left foot. Sweeps it across and Barbosa gets just a touch to it. And it was Roque that was in the vicinity. But that is a massive challenge from Alexander Barbosa. And it's not been given as a corner, but he had the last touch, Barbosa. Got away with that one, Botafogo. Certainly, as Palmeiras worked out that really positive bit of possession. Very threatening, as that was a little bit overzealous from Estevao that time, trying to win the ball back. And he was having none of it from the man there, Vitinho, in Botafogo colours. And the referee has given a free kick the way of Botafogo. Yeah, it was just a little bit late from Estevao. There was really just no need for it, in a sense. Just overly physical. Long ball forward there from the Botafogo keeper, Jean, but not finding any of his teammates. Palmeiras clear. There's a bit of head tennis between the two sides at the moment. As Estevao breaks past Vitinho, but nice work from cover there from Alan, but Estevao won the throw, and now he's taking it quickly. Roque trying the through ball out wide, but overhead it. Goal kick. Yeah, they're trying to up the pace, Palmeiras. You've seen it there. They won the throw, and they didn't want to wait around. They wanted to get it going quickly and try and break with pace down that left-hand side. And just a little miscommunication between Estevao and the centre forward there, Vitor Roque. And that's given as a, obviously, a goal kick in the end, that overhead ball to Botafogo. Neither side really keeping much of the possession so far in these first 11 minutes of this one. Both sides looking a little bit sloppy at times, and as I said, the press is quite intense from both teams at this moment in time. And that's going to be a free kick. Another foul on Alan of Palmeiras. The Palmeiras Alan. And it's just a late lunge with the right foot there of Marlon Freitas. Yeah, he beats past him there, Alan, and Freitas leaves a leg dangling and catches the man. Here's Piquerez. Oh, a little bit overhit back there, and the keeper has to come flying out for it, Waverton. That was a little bit nervy there from Palmeiras. It was Piquerez's ball back, but it was Martinez that was back there, and he just left the ball. It could have been a bit more worrying than it ended up being for the team in green and white. The name's Mep. Hello, LFS. I'm late. What has happened? Not really much so far. Palmeiras have certainly come the closest, with a good chance down that left side with the switch by the crossfield ball into the box. But I think it's been a bit stop-start, as I said, in the early moments here. I think neither side has really taken grip of it, and I think so far it's basically just about both sides trying to feel each other out and gather each other, and kind of what they're trying to do to beat each other at this moment in time. But nothing of real great concern for either goalkeeper to worry about really so far. Here is Fuchs. Martinez. Across to Gomez, the Palmeiras captain. Out to Guai. And Rios there tried to nip it past his man, but he's stolen away from him. And now Igor Jesus finds Artur. Artur surrounded by green shirts, but he gets it off into the box. And Fuchs with a strong challenge, winning it back for Palmeiras. But that was a threat. And now a little bit loose here from Botafogo defensively. Here's Estevao trying to step inside, but out-muscled by Vitinho on that occasion. It's kind of the mirroring each other at the moment, the two teams. Both cagey at the same time, and then both trying to unleash counter-attacking threats at the same time and up the pace. They're kind of mirroring each other at this moment. That's why neither side really has much control in the first 14 minutes of this game. Honestly, might go to extra time. Well, of course, that is the case after 90 minutes, extra time and penalties to decide a winner. That's why we have the extra hour between the two games, of course. That Benfica-Chelsea game does kick off 9 o'clock UK time tonight, an hour later than usual from our previous games in the competition, usually 5 and 8. Oh, here's Vitor Roque in the box. Very good challenge the first and the second time. And the referee sees no issue, but the Palmeiras forward is down in the box. But the referee says play on. Of course, Jérôme Brissard, the VAR, will have a look at this, but couldn't really tell whether he was caught in the end there, Vitor Roque. He said he was. And François Letessier is confirming that there's no issues, as VAR have already looked at it. That was one way earlier on Igor Jesus. That was just a strong challenge. In the end, there was nothing in that. But if we go to the next one, if we can see it again here. Yeah, it's Vitor Roque. Was he slightly caught by Martinez? I don't think he was, really. That would have been very soft if that was given. And the referee's decision stands, but Martinez might have hurt himself at the moment. Or not Martinez, sorry. The number 32 Jair here for Botafogo. He might have hurt himself in challenging Vitor Roque there. And he's getting a bit of treatment. As I said, it's been very stop-start the first 15 minutes of this game. And that's what makes it so competitive. There's the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, watching on inside Lincoln Financial Fields. Looks as intrigued as ever, does Gianni Infantino. Names Map says 2-1 Palmeiras win after extra time. So a lot of close predictions so far. I expect it to be a close game, as I said. I do expect the two sides to battle, to really compete for the possession, and both sides have good chances, but I think it could come down to kind of which attacking line performs better on the day. If I'm honest, that's what it could come down to. Just the simple nature of it. I don't think there is much between these two sides. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Well, who knows? ChatGPT might get it right. And of course, as I said, this is the first commentary game of Palmeiras on the channel. And they had a cracking group stage. Unbeaten in the group stages were Palmeiras. 3 games played, 1 win, 2 draws from their 3 group matches in Group A. So they only conceded 2 goals as well over the 3 games. So they have a solid defence and know how to win in this competition. 2 draws against Inter Miami and Porto in their 2 games either side of that Al Ahly 2-0 win on match day 2. They actually hadn't conceded a goal until that third game, where they drew 2-2 with Inter Miami. They were 2-0 down in that game, actually, Palmeiras. Luis Suarez and Allende with the 2 goals for Inter Miami. Had them 2-0 down, Palmeiras, heading into the final few minutes of the game. And into the final 10 minutes, Paulinho and Mauricio, the 2 scorers, to rescue a draw, which secured top spot for them. If they'd have lost Inter Miami, they would have been second, and they would have been playing PSG, whereas Inter Miami would be playing here. But they wrestled a draw and got the big point that they needed to secure top spot in Group A, did Palmeiras. Here's Artur for Botafogo. Plays it through. This is a nice move, Alan, with the try and the cross, but well blocked by the centre-back there in Gomez, the captain of Palmeiras, and that will be a Botafogo corner. Always says, I think Botafogo will win 1-0. Arai says 2-1 to Botafogo. As the Arab says, ChatGPT predicted that the winner will end up being 2-1 Botafogo. Let's see with this corner. Tellez with the delivery. Cleared away at the front post. Back to Alex Tellez. We'll whip it in again. Deeper this time. But a punch from the keeper, Waverton, and there was already a foul in there on a Palmeiras player. And that's going to stop the game. And a free kick will go the way of Palmeiras. See that lovely delivery by Alex Tellez. Took the touch, whips it in. And the punch away from Waverton. Waverton, the Palmeiras keeper. And then there was that challenge on Agustin Guai that has gone down. So the Argentinian was the one that won the free kick for Palmeiras, as their fans have brought in the inflatable gear. Very interesting that. I've never seen that before. Kind of like inflatable, I don't know what those are. Big inflatable balloons, but they're big, like, long cylindrical balloons. Very interesting. I mean, that's one thing about South American teams. I said this before. There are a lot of countries and a lot of teams from different countries that support their teams in very different ways, and you love to see how differently they're supported. Game's back underway, by the way. Martinez, and now the shot from the man that was fouled, Guai, but that was well blocked from a long range out. And the ball was seen out for a Palmeiras throw on the far right side by Alex Tellez. "20 minutes gone. Palmeiras 0, Botafogo 0 here in the round of 16, of course. First game of the knockouts in the FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Of course, 8 games over the next 4 and a bit days here on the channel that are in the round of 16, and we'll be covering the vast majority of them on the channel, of course. That's a lovely switch ball again here to Estevao on this left-hand side. He's got the underlap this time of Piqueres, but Piqueres, as he got to the ball, was well challenged and beaten. But the clearance was a little bit loose. Picked up by Fuchs there, who was caught off the ball, but Piqueres plays it through, and Estevao trying to cut it back. Blocked there by Danilo, and that's going to be a corner. That's very good play from Palmeiras, and it's definitely down that left-hand side where they're threatening more. It's Estevao and Piqueres with that link-up down that left channel. And that time it was an underlap that led to the little bit of confusion from the Botafogo defenders. And ultimately, Danilo Barbosa with the defending to put it behind for the corner. Estevao, who won the corner, will take the corner. Let's see what he can deliver here. Left-footed, right swinger, hooked away and cleared away by Barbosa. And there's a clash of players, but no foul, said the referee. One from each team. Estevao with the ball in, bobbling around. And the poked finish took a deflection. And there's a clash. There was a clash between 2 players in the middle here. It was Igor Jesus, and I think Jai. Yeah, just a clash between the 2 players. There's nothing there's no foul in it. Not at all. They just collide, the two players. The momentum in each other takes them into each other, and now they're going to have to receive a bit of treatment. But certainly Palmeiras, overall, attacking-wise, have looked more threatening in the first 22 minutes or so here. I think they've had the better of it in the final third and breaking into the final third a lot better than Botafogo, who've had, I'd say, a lot less possession. 58-42 in Palmeiras' favour with the possession. The referee said play on. The ball was reversed around the corner. Estevao, was he in an onside position? I think it might have just been onside. He worked the ball into the box, and as it bobbled through, it found its way to the edge of the 6-yard box, and then there was the effort that was deflected over the bar for the corner. But we will await until the two players that were collided are back to their feet. And we will continue in a moment, of course. But as I have said, I think Palmeiras have been the better side so far, looked the more threatening in the final third, got into the final third a lot more than Botafogo. They will be the happier of the two teams at the moment. Certainly their manager will be the happier of the two head coaches on the sidelines, of course, and Abel Ferreira. As Guy is up again. He was fouled just a moment ago for in his own box, and then that one. So he's been the unfortunate target of two big physical moments in this game. As Estevao will ready to take this corner for Palmeiras when we get back going in a moment or so. Estevao, left-footed delivery, outswinger again, lifted in. The header down, it's trying to poke it home, bobbling around the box, and Botafogo can get it away. A little short for Artur, who makes the most of it, and in the end will win the throw-in. But that moment was a little bit scrappy from Botafogo defensively. This corner delivered in, 2 or 3, maybe 4 touches from Palmeiras players before they could get it away from danger. It was really lackluster as that throw-in from Botafogo. They're dispossessed already, down the right-hand side. Come Palmeiras. Maurizio Martinez now. Piqueras finding out Estevao in the box. Estevao onto his left, trying to reach the narrow angle, but he was offside there, Estevao, as he received the ball. Yeah, he's been right on hanging on the back of the defenders, and this time just doesn't hold his run enough, and he is just offside there, Estevao, as the ball was played to him. And the hold on a second. The names map says Google Gemini said Botafogo will win 2-1 or 1-0. Andy says brilliant commentary. Just subscribe and hit the like. Thank you very much, Andy. Great to have you with us for this one. As Arab says, I found something a little interesting. The last time Palmeiras had won in this matchup was back in November 2023, ending 4-3. Let's hope for more of the same today. If only. The last time the game ended 0-0 on March the 30th, 2025. Don't say that. Don't want that. Yeah, it was a 0-0 draw back in March. Botafogo won a good run against Palmeiras, of course, unbeaten in the last 5 meetings, dating back to that one that Arab said, November 2023, was the last time that Palmeiras beat Botafogo in this matchup, including 3 wins out of the last 5 for the team in black and white, 2 draws. And just that 1 0-0 draw. That was their last meeting back in March in the league in Brazil. Let's hope that they got that out of their system earlier in the season, earlier in the year, and they don't have to worry about trying to give us a 0-0 here today. Certainly not. And then they did, of course, have met in a knockout competition fairly recently, as I said, about the Copa Libertadores. They met in the round of 16 of the Libertadores. Of course, that was a 2-legged round of 16 tie. But Botafogo won 2-1 in the first leg and drew 2-2 in the second, of course, going through on aggregate over the 2 legs into the quarterfinals. But that might bode well for them. The last time they played each other in a round of 16, Botafogo came out on top. So certainly Palmeiras have history going against them, certainly recent history against these opponents. This is where it matters. In a one-off game, a knockout competition, knockout format, they'll get to the quarterfinals of the competition. Andy says, I think if one goal soon, then there will be more goals in the game. Might even go to pens if no one score after 60 minutes. Yeah, I think that's the way games the games like this can kind of fare out. Both sides are a little bit cagey to start, both trying to feel each other out, not take too many unnecessary risks, trying to get their own play down and their own rhythm and momentum in the game. And then you see them go a little bit more at each other between the two halves. Kind of the last 15 minutes of the first half and the first 15 minutes of the second half, you see them at their most kind of aggressive. And if there's still not a goal by the hour mark, then you kind of think that it's either going to be a 1-goal win or it's going to be a 0-0 and we're going to extra time. You kind of feel it out from the game. But so far, I completely agree with you, Andy. It's kind of that idea when in a knockout competition, you know, obviously it's advantage to who scores first in the game, but again, you get an early goal, it kind of sets the tone for the game. But so far, as I said, it's Palmeiras that look the more likely to have a goal, and as Arab says there in the chat, not a shot for Botafogo in the first 29 minutes of this game. Without a shot, 5 shots for Palmeiras alternatively so far. So they're struggling to get up the fields at Botafogo, doing a lot of defending so far, and they have another bit of defending here to do, with a free kick for Palmeiras on this right-hand side. Let's see. It's a little bit further infield. It's a bit narrow, this one. Let's see what they can deliver. Left-footed ball into the box, but bounces and right up into the hands of Jean, who will gather those all day long, the Botafogo keeper. Lapping up those type of deliveries. I said it was a little bit more infield and a long distance, so it was a little bit more tricky. Try and get the lift and get the accuracy on it and the balance of the delivery. It was easier to whip it in from a wider area, obviously, from a set piece. And there's going to be a little foul on Artur to try and get Botafogo up the field. And that man, Gustavo Gomez, the captain of Palmeiras, committing that foul. It's a little bit over physical with Artur there. I will definitely be watching Real Madrid v Juventus and PSG v Inter Miami. Yeah, there's some great ties for the round of 16, I gotta say. Real Madrid v Juventus will be so nostalgic, especially for me as a Real fan. Yeah, 100%. We do have a cooling break at the moment, so 30 minutes gone, and we have a cooling break inside Lincoln Financial Field. For this one, still 0-0 between these two sides. But 100%, I think some of the ties in this round of 16 are really fascinating. I'm really intriguing. And they've all got storylines. I mean, the all-European battle later this evening. This all-South American battle, the only all-South American kind of tie in this round of 16. PSG into Miami. Kind of Lionel Messi against his former club, of course, in that one. That's going to be an interesting one tomorrow at 5. Flamengo against Bayern. Two very good sides. Two sides that have maybe, in matchups against kind of teams that are at their level, have kind of underperformed. I think Flamengo did very well against, obviously, Chelsea in that group game. Bayern a little bit lackluster against Benfica, of course, in that defeat that denied them top spot in the group, of course. In the end, Inter against Fluminense, as well as a very intriguing matchup. And as you say, Real Madrid-Juventus. Who doesn't want to watch that one? So looking forward to Real Madrid-Juventus. That's on Tuesday night. That's our final game of our coverage of the round of 16, of course, this time round. So we will have Benfica-Chelsea tonight, PSG Inter Miami and Flamengo Bayern Munich tomorrow evening. Inter and Fluminense on Monday evening, and then Real Madrid-Juventus on Tuesday evening. So we will have 6 of the 8 round of 16 ties covered. And then unfortunately, I will be away over the quarterfinals, across the whole quarterfinals. The quarterfinals take place over less than a 24-hour period. It run about 25 hours, and it just so happens that I'm away Thursday to Saturday next week, so I'll not be able to do the quarterfinals, but we will, of course, be available for the semi-finals, obviously, and the final, which are guaranteed live here on LFS. So we're trying to get as many numbers in as we can before the competition is concluded, and then we'll take a little break, obviously across July, before we kick off a new domestic season in August, of course. So a busy couple of weeks to come over the summer. Cooling break over, so we're back underway then. The final 12-13 minutes of this first half at Lincoln Financial Field, and so far, as I said, it's been Palmeiras that have been the better of the two teams. Not really seen much of Igor Jesus, Savarino, Artur from Botafogo very much at all in an attacking position. A lot of the possession and play has been in Botafogo's half, really. And Palmeiras winning the ball back there and trying to take the advantage with that through ball, but far too close to the Botafogo keeper, Jean, there, who recovers. I need to start fighting a little bit more, press up the field a little bit more, Botafogo. Here's Artur down the right-hand side. He's got options in the box. He wants to deliver the ball. Jesus trying to hold it up. Artur does well. Rolls it wide. And the shot from the midfielder there, or actually the wide player, Savarino, who strikes it well over the bar. That was a little bit better from Botafogo. Worked it across the edge of the box. Artur did really well coming inside. Laid it off to Savarino, who kind of unleashed a bit of a lazy effort there. Just too far out. And was leaning back. Goal kick. Yeah, 100%, Andy. I think it will go one of two ways, this game. And as you say, there are moments where both sides are getting exploited, and certainly so in this one, where there is options to attack. But I think it will be, as you say, either one of those where it's a 0-0, where neither team can really take their chances, which we have seen a bit over this tournament, where teams have had very good spells in the game, strong spells, but not able to either carve out a great chance, or if they do carve out a great chance, they don't take that chance, as that's a little bit lazy on that occasion from the Botafogo defence. We've had a little, I don't know what's happened there with strange that my earphone connected and it knocked off my stream. That was weird. We're still going here. I just seen that foul as a little bit kind of bizarre. Yeah, it's very late here. Yeah, from Alex Tellez. Very silly defending that. Stretching across his man. That's really lazy. And he's been given a yellow card for his troubles there. And a free kick for Palmeiras in this moment. And a chance for them to threaten down this side. We've had a little earphone issue. We're still going, though. No issue. No major issue, but sound is trying to resolve. But they do have this free kick on the left-hand side here. Palmeiras. Or on this right-hand side. And a chance to deliver into the box. Can they deliver one in? It's far right side. It was Alex Tellez. Very lazy challenge. Left-footed delivery. Cleared away in the box there by Barbosa. Picked up down this left-hand side by the defender. Dispossessed. Artur battling there. And Alan on the scene. And that goes out for a throw-in. It was Alan that was kind of stopped by the other Alan, really. The two Alans on the scene there. as Botafogo get the possession back. Less than 10 minutes to go with the first half, and the names map says this is not one of the most entertaining games, but it will do. Well, we're still getting warmed up, and as I said, these two sides, we expect them to be very competitive with each other as Tellez tries a cross, and that's far too close to Weverton. And the Palmeiras goal, who sends it flying down that right-hand side. A chance for one for Vitor Roque to chase. He's got past his defender. Roque into the box, but he's just held off by Barbosa, and that goes behind for the corner. Yeah, it was a good run down that right side by Vitor Roque. Did well to get past Barbosa, and then Barbosa just blocking him off on the second one. So a chance here for Palmeiras on the right hand side, close to the end of the first half. If they can take an advantage here, it'll be massive for them. They've been the better side of the first half, but I need to try and make it count. Ball delivered in, header flicked up in the air. Still alive from Roque as Jean was caught as he tried to hold the ball there and catch it. And that's going to be a free kick to Botafogo. Yeah, just tried to grab it with both hands there, Jean, and it was the defender of Palmeiras, Bruno Fuchs, that in the end was the one that committed the foul on Jean. As Arab says, both aren't the best form, but Palmeiras just on top right now. Certainly so. But I got to say, they're trying a little bit hard. They're trying their hardest at the moment, Botafogo. But as I said, winning the ball back well and in the right areas is what is getting Palmeiras that extra little bit of benefit from their play at the moment. That's where they're finding the advantage. That's where Botafogo are struggling. Here they are with Vitinho. Works it well in the midfield here. Freitas finds Danilo. Hits right at the opponent midfielder there. He took a fair whack in the torso. There's going to be a yellow card for earlier on for Gustavo Gomes, the captain and centre-back of Palmeiras. But trying to see who the player there was had the issue. Yeah, this is earlier on. Gomes on Alan, but he's okay to continue, and that was okay. But the next one, it was Danilo just whacked the ball into the midfielder of Palmeiras. Says that yellow card for Gustavo Gomes, by the way, is a yellow card that will suspend him from a possible quarter-final if they were to progress. Palmeiras, their captain, wouldn't be in the side. He would be suspended if they were to progress. So check on the Palmeiras player that was kind of whacked by Danilo, and he's okay. And Botafogo will get the drop ball and play on. Andy says, I want Botafogo to win for my fantasy game. They sound like the more cagey of the two teams. The mistakes lies with them at the minute. They both can't lose, but Greens are playing with more freedom. Yeah, certainly Palmeiras are playing with that little bit more freedom, especially down that left-hand side, as I said, where they've had that advantage with the likes of Estevao and even Piqueras on the overlap. The fullback on the overlap certainly looked the more threatening, but again, anything can happen. And Botafogo are having a decent spell of possession here. The ball played to Igor Jesus, but again, he's dispossessed as he tries to drop back. And once again, as they try and win it back, there Botafogo, they committed a pretty cheap foul to give away, and Marlon Freitas was the one that fouled Richard Rios there, and that's going to be a free kick to Palmeiras. He just kind of slacked at his feet there and just caught him. No intent, it was no malice or no intent behind it, other than trying to win the ball, but he was late. I've seen that quite a lot from Botafogo in this first half. Those late challenges, those mistimed kind of challenges that just haven't been at their best so far, anywhere near what they're capable of at this moment in time, and it will frustrate their head coach, who's seen them play so much better and seen them play better against different opposition and European opposition, but so far this afternoon they've been lackluster, to say the very least. Piqueres trying the long ball towards Estevao, and following up there was Rios, who couldn't keep the possession. Go back to Barbosa. Pumping it forward, a little bit loose into the middle of the field. Nicely won by Piqueres. They're trying to combine through the midfield, but again, this time Vitor Roque couldn't keep the ball alive for Palmeiras. They've got a little bit sloppy with their possession in the last few minutes. Vitinho working it towards Freitas, who has to come through a body to get forward. He has done that. A nice combination, and Freitas is in the box here with the shot, and he sweeps it so far wide, completely mishits it. A bit of fortune in the fact the ball bounced for Marlon Freitas, who did well in the first challenge, broke away from his man, and then a little heavy touch, but a nice combination in the end with the forward line and the forward player, and he played it through, worked through, and then with the effort there, Freitas just absolutely miscued it well wide. That's the best, most positive moment in an attacking sense for Botafogo so far in this half. There's a little bit of fortune that went their way on that occasion, and then the shot left a lot to be desired from the Botafogo captain. It's certainly Botafogo have battled better in the last 5-10 minutes. I gotta say, they've been a little bit more controlled and maybe a little bit more comfortable. But again, as I said, Palmeiras have had that extra little threat, that extra edge on Botafogo all the way through the first half. And if anybody was to score, from what I could see and what I have seen in the last 44 minutes, if anybody was to score before halftime, it would be Palmeiras. But again, it's in the end, neither side have really tested out either goalkeeper. Jean and Weverton really haven't had much to do in either goal. Neither side have had a shot on target in the first half, so it is really not much between them overall, but Palmeiras have probably had the edge on it in the first half. But again, both attacks have looked a little bit wasteful when they have got into the areas where they can be a threat. Here's Alan for Botafogo. Nice turn by Artur. Gets past Richard Rios, and now the space opens up. Artur down the right. Plays it onto Vitinho, who just about keeps it in play. Vitinho onto his left. Cuts it back. Alan now. Artur. Lovely little combination. Here's Vitinho trying the cross. And the cutback deflected off Piqueres. And goes behind. That was so much better from Botafogo. First real time we've seen them combine well. And that's a really good combination. Lovely poke ball by Artur in behind for Vitinho for the second time. And the cutback deflected off Piqueres and bobbles behind for the corner. Very strong from Botafogo there. Much better. 6 additional minutes at the end of the first half here. Savarino with a low corner that's cleanly cleared away at the front post. Estevao trying to keep the possession to carry Palmeiras up the field, but ball had gone out of play. Botafogo throw. Certainly ending the half the stronger of the two teams are Botafogo at this moment in time. Vitinho to take this throw in. Igor Jesus thought he was nudged, but still play on, says the referee. Vitinho. Oh, a lovely little bit of skill there by Danilo. Right, Barbosa. Out to the left-hand side it comes. To Teles. Can't really get forward on that occasion. Bit more safe with their passing, but in a good way for Botafogo. They're taking care of the ball a lot better. Being a bit more patient with their play now. Vitinho. Alan. Back to Barbosa. To Jair. Barbosa. Telles. Telles finds a little space in front of him. Can he break into it? Can't find a teammate though with a pass. Now there's space vacated, but that's a good challenge in the midfield there by Alan, who stepped across and defended well on that occasion to put it out for the throw as Palmeiras tried that breakaway. But again, Botafogo a little bit better in the last few minutes. Said taking care of the ball a lot better. Palmeiras still trying that breakaway, that in-transition move on the counter to try and create as much of a threat as they can. And look, they've worked it well here again. Here's Roque. He's got Estevao. Estevao couldn't quite get to it. If Vitor Roque had put more pace behind that one, it could have been more threatening, but it was going in the direction of Estevao, but far too short a pass to find him. That was a maybe moment, but another one of those maybe moments that didn't quite find its target. 3 minutes of the 6 added to go. Palmeiras 0, Botafogo 0 in this first knockout game of the Club World Cup for this occasion. Of course, we will have one of these two progressing. No matter what happens, we will have a winner by the end of play. Who will it be? We're no closer to finding out who it will be. The vast majority of the first half, Palmeiras have been the better, but ending this half, it's Botafogo with the advantage, certainly with the momentum in their favour. Lovely little 1-2 there between Vitinho and Artur again, and there's a good challenge by Martinez, who puts it out for the throw. And I think they've actually given a Palmeiras throw there, as Artur got a last touch on that. Andy says Botafogo need to tweak it, cover up that left wing problems they're having, and then they can beat them. Bodo edging back into the game little by little, certainly edging back into the game. And as I said, Palmeiras' main threat has been down that left channel. If they can just tidy that up a little bit, Botafogo, they can certainly have a more solid balance and foundation in this game. But that's where Palmeiras are finding their advantage. That's where their best chance of the game came from, down that left channel. Here they are down the right. GI to Alan for Palmeiras. Well challenged, battling, tussling when he held on to the ball there, Alan. Now the ball's worked out wide to Estevao on this left. Well challenged by Vitinho, but the ball falls to Piqueres. He squares it across the box. Richard Rios with the efforts. And it's hit the side netting. And I think there's a deflection that took it into the side netting. For a second there, some of the stadium thought it was a goal, but come off the side netting from Richard Rios. Again, smart from Piqueres. Spots the free man in Rios. He's claiming for it. He gets it. Has the strike on the edge of the box. And he just about sees it over the bar, and it took a touch off Jean. It was going over, but the Botafogo keeper made sure. And that goes for the corner. Very good opportunity there from Richard Rios. That's the closest probably of the afternoon. Corner delivered in. High, punched away by Jean. Estevao brings it down at the byline and wins another corner. Palmeiras probably having their best chance of the game right on the verge of half-time here. Not much time remaining though. Estevao will take this corner on the left-hand side. Probably be the last action of the first half. Estevao's delivery is really poor and disappointing, and that is and was the end of the first half. Well, it's been ebbing and flowing, back and forth between the two teams all the way through the first half. Palmeiras, as I said, probably had the better of it for the vast majority of the first 45. Botafogo worked their way back into the game with a good chance late in the half, but it was Palmeiras that probably had the best chance and probably the last chance of that first half, with Richard Rios just about seeing it over the bar. Half-time, nothing between the two here in Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Our first knockout game is as tight as you probably would have expected it. Half-time, Palmeiras 0, Botafogo 0. Welcome back to the Club World Cup round of 16 knockout stages getting underway this afternoon. Half time in our first of 8 round of 16 ties. Palmeiras 0, Botafogo 0 in this South American tie this evening, of course, between the two sides. And if you to kind of sum up that first half, really, it was a first half where both sides lacked a lot of threat, lacked a lot of final third kind of pressure on each other, really. Chances were few and far between, and without a shot on target for either team in that first half. So it doesn't bode well for those that are wanting a high scoring game, but there's still a whole second half to go, and from that first half, you would probably say that best chance of the game actually came in the final few minutes, final minute or so of that first half, with Richard Rios, who had this effort from the edge of the box, just seeing it again, and that right-footed strike. Some even in the stadium thought it was into the net. Some thought it was a goal. For a split second, I thought it was a goal, but as you see, the shot comes from the edge of the box. He lifts it, and it just scoops over the bar, and onto the roof of the net, which caused that ricochet that might have confused some fans. But from that first half, both sides a bit lackluster in the final third. But as I said, it's more promise, more positivity from Palmeiras, if you're to be honest. But Botafogo's best chance came from a really good solo run from Marlon Freitas. A little bit of fortune as he gets the break of the ball from the Palmeiras defence, and it falls to his way in the box from a tighter angle, which is difficult for him to take, but he completely scuffs it, miscues it so far wide that it was a wasteful chance. And, you know, to talk about the two best chances of the first half being a really poor wide effort and a shot that was over the bar onto the roof of the net, two off-target efforts, I think that's where it's disappointing from the first half, really, because there's so much promise and so much positivity in these two teams, and we know how kind of strong defensively those two are. But overall, if you're to be honest, Botafogo haven't been strong defensively in this game. They really haven't. I think, if you're to be honest with yourself, to give away 7 shots, you're lucky not to have conceded a shot on target. And that's on Palmeiras for not being threatening and not being accurate enough when they get into the final third. To be fair, 5 of their 7 shots have been blocked, so there isn't much in that. But Botafogo haven't had anything really in the first half. As I said, 2 shots in the game, and one of them was that one from Marlon Freitas. There's no such a thing as a best chance for Botafogo in that first half, because their 2 shots were really poor. One that was skied well wide from a long range effort, and then Marlon Freitas' was nowhere near the goal. So basically, both goalkeepers have not had to do very much, as I said, in that first half, and it's disappointing, really, from both teams. But I think if they figure things out at half time, there is ways they can be more efficient. There is positives to take out of that first half, is that probably it can't be as bad in the second half as it was in the first. I think there's a lot of negatives, but there's a few positives that maybe it just can't be that bad, and both sides can figure out a way of trying to be a bit more threatening in the second half. And, you know, look, Palmeiras had the better of it for the first 30 minutes. It was a bit stop-start the game, a couple of set pieces, a couple of free kicks, a couple of challenges that were a little bit off from both teams, really, and that created a real cagey game in the first 30 minutes. But I think maybe after the cooling break, I think both sides kind of started from 0 and were a little bit better. And I think Botafogo actually reacted a lot better after the cooling break and were the better side, really, for a good 5-10 minutes. And then it was Palmeiras that had the best chance of the game in the dying embers of the added time in the first half. So, really, it was fine margins between both teams. But I think they both need to up their level. Both need to be so much better in the second half, because they're both going to, one of them is going to limp over the line at this rate. One of them is going to limp over the line, and you don't want that in a knockout competition. You want to see the kind of the quality of both teams shine through. And I think in this, the only all South American battle, the only all South American tie in the competition, in the round of 16, you want to see what the best of what South America has to offer. And so far, we've seen nothing near that between these two teams. And I think we're hoping that they both improve for the second half, but who knows? I think there are positives to take out of it. But again, overall, the first half, from a neutral point of view, very negative. probably from both sets of fans' point of views, a little bit off where they need to be if they want to progress. And of course, we know that the winners of this one will play the winners of Benfica Chelsea, who we'll watch later. But I think if either side plays like they did in that first half against either a Benfica or a Chelsea, they will be out straight away. They'll be out before kickoff, because they're both not playing anywhere near their level, and they both know they're capable of so much more. And we'll see if they can show us that in the second half. At least a shot on target would be nice for the second half, really per first half. But we'll see what both sides can offer. They've got really good players in their teams, really good quality in the final third. They just need to show it in the second half, and let's hope that we can get that in the second half from both teams. The Names Map says, according to ESPN, there were over 1 million empty seats throughout the group stages of the Club World Cup. Yeah, well, there were a lot of stadiums that were certainly not empty, but they certainly weren't anywhere near full. Lincoln Financial Fields here this afternoon isn't empty. There's a good crowd in. Of course, a lot of the South Americans travelling up north to Philadelphia for this one. It is not one of the largest. It is the 5th largest stadium out of the 12 in the competition overall. Lincoln Financial Field, 69,000 capacity. Atlanta, Charlotte, East Rutherford, and of course Pasadena are all larger than Lincoln Financial Field. But there's a good crowd in, and both fans will be hoping that their teams can perform a lot better in the second half than they did in the first. A quick look at the bracket, by the way, for this competition. So this is the bracket for the knockouts. So of course it says group tables. We'll change that. But we are on the bottom left corner, as you can see there. Palmeiras against Botafogo, and then the winner of that will play Benfica Chelsea. Winner of that tie there. In the top left, Inter Fluminense will play the winner of Man City Al Hilal. So we could have a repeat of the 2023 Champions League final if both City and Inter head through there. On the right-hand side, we could have a PSG-Bayern matchup in the quarterfinals if they both progress. Of course, obviously, Flamengo, Miami, the other two in those. And then, of course, could have a repeat of the 2024 Champions League final at Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. Are two teams that could face each other in the quarters. So we could have a lot of all-European ties in the quarterfinals, and some very interesting matchups. But we'll see what comes of all of the games, obviously. And of course, we do know Real Madrid and Manchester City, who are probably the two favourites to win this competition, they cannot meet until at least the final, because they're on opposite ends of the draw, which is exactly what we want, because we want as best a quality final as we can get. And City, Real Madrid are the two favourites, and you don't want them playing any earlier than the final. So far, it is looking good on that front. But the knockouts, of course, will progress over the next days and weeks, and we'll see who will get to that all-important showpiece final on Sunday, July the 13th. Right, the second half of what has been a pretty lacklustre performance from both Palmeiras and Botafogo in that first half. It's 0-0 at the moment, but hoping for goals and drama in the second half. That's on the way in just a moment. Welcome back to the FIFA Club World Cup live here on LFS. Half time between Palmeiras and Botafogo. It's goalless. Our next game this evening, our second knockout tie, is an all-European clash between Benfica and Chelsea. That takes place a little later this evening, a little later than usual, a 9 p.m. kickoff, and that is from the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're there at 9 o'clock for Benfica against Chelsea. Right, back here at the Lincoln Financial Fields. Half-time it is goalless between these two South American opponents. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We're right on the verge of 28,000 subscribers. If we can get there, that will be fantastic. We don't have our counter in the top corner, which is a little bit strange. There we go. We've 0 apparently, so whatever's happened with that malfunctioned. But we are, promise me, I promise you, we are nearly at 28,000. We're just on the verge of it, so if you can help us get to that stage, that will be absolutely fantastic. Right, the two sets of teams will be emerging from the tunnel in a second or so for the second half between these two, which, as I said, a first half that was more than lacklustre, more than disappointing, and a lot still needed from these two teams if they are to get anywhere near good enough in this game. And, you know, so far, the poll in the chat, well over 297 votes. Thank you very much, everybody, for getting involved. Keep those votes coming in, and we're going to keep that poll open right to the very end of the game, obviously. Palmeiras, 66% of the votes, so their margin of going through, and the margin of support from the chat has only increased as the game's gone on. 66% saying that Palmeiras will go through, 34% of the chat saying that Botafogo will progress. Let's see how that works. Right, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for this one. We are awaiting the players, as the Palmeiras players are keeping us waiting. The Botafogo players are already out on the fields. It's the Palmeiras players that were keeping us waiting, but they're just slowly but surely re-emerging for the second half here in Philly. We will wait and see what comes of these two teams. I am trying to resolve this the counter for you. It's a little issue. Right, we're almost ready to go. We're almost ready to go. They've been keeping us waiting for far too long now. And great day, Rex Arab. I'm thinking of starting to watch along streams. I don't know how to do the animations. Well, look, I've built this up from nothing. So if I can do it, anybody else can do it. So there's certainly room in the market. There's no kind of shortage of watch-alongs and things. It's a very competitive market. But if that's what you want to do, go ahead. No one should be stopping you. And as I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. We're back underway then here at Lincoln Financial Field for the second half. A big second half for these two. Indeed. Of course, remember, extra time penalties if we're level after 90 minutes. But fingers crossed, we will not be level after 90 minutes, and we can get some goals in the second half that can put one of these two teams through to the quarterfinals. I'm sure there will be much tighter affairs, and certainly much higher quality affairs over the round of 16. But these two sides will be hoping they can offer more in the attacking third than they did in the first half. As I said, no shots on target is quite a damning stat for these two teams, who have high expectations coming into this game, and high expectations in the fact that they know they're good enough to do well here. They know fine rightly they are good enough. They haven't shown it to us as of yet from that first half. As here's a cheap giveaway, Estevao with the effort. There's the first shot on target from Estevao, who's looked the more threatening, the most threatening for Palmeiras in the first half. It's a nice win back. It's Alan that squares it into Estevao with some pace. Takes a very good first touch and then strikes it with the instep of his left foot from the edge of the box. It's a good save by Jean. That was better. Now a chance to deliver. Cleared away from the left-hand side, and that's Guy that is just retrieved. That was much more positive from Palmeiras. And much more threatening from Estevao. That was a cheap giveaway here by Jair. Now Estevao down this left again. Piqueres. Estevao again. It's keeping the ball moving down that left side. That's where their threat was in the first half, Palmeiras. Trying to make it count already in the seconds, and that man who has been their most threatening player, Estevao, in that left channel, is the one to get their first shot on target of this game. Ball bobbling forward. Here's Vitor Roque, who brings it down in confusion from the Botafogo defenders there, but maybe they knew he was offside, and the flag does go up eventually there. See this again from Estevao. Very good effort from the edge of the D. In the end, it was a good height in the end for Jean to dive at, but could have been more difficult, and he did well to deal with it, the keeper. There's the referee's view. Very good effort from Estevao. Much better already from the attack there of Palmeiras. Nice interception there down the left side. Rios keeping it in field and fed down the channel for Estevao, who does just about keep it in the boundaries of the field, but the crossfield pass to Mauricio was intercepted well by Barbota. Now Artur down the right side here for Botafogo, a little bit better. Nice little give and go. Artur down the right side here, he's got options in the middle. Artur will go himself. That one was comfortably gathered though by Waverton, but that's better. All of a sudden, the second half started and both are trying to get shots off early. Gonga says, Americans still don't get soccer. Zaarab says, you would know if the game starts to get heated in the second half, something is going to happen. I think the pressure will come upon these two teams at one point, but it's how they deal with the pressure. That's a lovely switch ball by Rios again. Here's Estevao. Cuts inside. Estevao! Effort was deflected and saved by Jean, and then the second effort goes in, but he was offside. It won't count. Whether VAR might have a say, but Estevao did find the net, but it was quite convincingly ruled out by the referee, and Estevao just offside as the ball was switched to him by Richard Rios earlier. And that effort deflected. Good save by Jean, and then he picks it back up. Has the effort. And the referee, I don't know whether the referee blew the whistle before the ball hit the net, but he was offside, Estevao, in the first phase of that attack. And that breaks down. Palmeiras with the two best opportunities of the game, and that man Estevao leading the charge from them. As he wins a throw-in down this left-hand side. Estevao, which Piqueres will take in his own half. Whatever Abel Ferreira said to his team at half-time, it seemingly got through to them. They're starting much better. Jai bursting forward here. In field, but he run into trouble in Danilo. There's a handball there by Freitas. We'll get a cheap free kick for Palmeiras, as Botafogo just couldn't keep the ball. Piqueres. Now Estevao. Back it comes. All the way back here to Jai. Inside it goes to Rios. And now Fuchs. Right to the left for Piqueres. Going for the early cross in. Roque couldn't just reach it. It was a good catch by Jean, but what a ball by Piqueres. And it was just an inch or two ahead of Vitor Roque, who was making that wonderful run in the box. Another decent effort there for Palmeiras. Coutinho trying to scramble it up the right hand side, but finding none of his teammates in black and white. Again, Palmeiras overriding the midfield. Martinez now. Right side of him is Piqueres. He works it back into the midfield again. As Andy says in the chat there, and Bodo don't look like they're sorting out their right back area. That's continually where Palmeiras have had their efforts. They haven't been able to deal with it all afternoon, Botafogo. Here is Piqueires. Inside to Martinez. Now Fuchs to Jai. Nice little 1-2 between Alan there. Feeds it out wide here for Rios. Rios with a cross, but too close to Jean. Catches again, but they're working it well. Oh, they might be caught out here. No, Fuchs has just got covered just in time. Botafogo tried that counter-attacking effort, and he almost worked for them on a 2-on-2, but Bruno Fuchs had it under control and got it back to his keeper. But it's positive from Palmeiras again. They looked the more confident, they looked the more controlled, they looked certainly a lot quicker with their pace. And Mauricio was caught there as he tried to, or Alan, sorry, was caught by Alex Tellez, and that's going to be another free kick. He chopped inside Alex Tellez, and Tellez just left the right foot dangling and just caught Alan as he tried to break through there. As Arab says, so far if this momentum continues to be like this, it will be 2-1 to Palmeiras. Well, at this rate, it's Palmeiras that again are on top. And Botafogo doing a lot of defending. A lot of out of possession play for them. For Botafogo to start this half. They need to just settle down. Get some possession of their own and try and fight back. Here's Vitinho. Artur to Savarino, but he was dispossessed well. And now Estevao can transcend Palmeiras on the breakaway. Down the left-hand side it comes. Nice little 1-2 as the shot was blocked there. And now they try and break away to Botafogo. Vitinho. Down the right-hand side, they've got bodies flooding forward. Artur just about keeping it. Past Piqueires. Now Freitas. Danilo now. Once again, just settling Botafogo to take the sting out of it. And Palmeiras are constantly wanting to keep in the game that high tempo. That ball from Vitinho was a little bit wobbly. Trying to square or feed the ball through there, Freitas, but it was blocked. And now Rios' chip ball forward was just too far ahead of Mauricio. Here's Freitas. Finally getting a bit of possession here, Botafogo. Tellez. To Danilo, now Freitas. Savarino getting some possession centrally. Again, dispossessed was Vitinho, but he will win the throw-in as the last touch came off Martinez there. But they're just maybe waiting for something to happen, Botafogo. It's kind of the only way I can really describe it. They're not acting on instinct, they're acting on hope that something will come, the space will open up, they'll find a run, they'll find a pass. It's looking a little bit aimless at times here. You know, whenever Palmeiras are coming forward, they've got that instinctive nature that they know where they want to go. They've got that idea in their head of where they... I mean, obviously, everybody wants... You want to go to the net. But what I mean is where their next pass is. They've got their next 2 or 3 passes linked up, Palmeiras. They know exactly what way they're going to try and attack this Botafogo team. But Botafogo, when they're in possession, any sort of possession they have, Palmeiras just step off a little bit and then they just look lost, Botafogo, in trying to find their next pass. Like they're aimlessly playing the ball in and around, just hoping for some space to show up, hoping for a chance to fall their way. And that's lovely from Estevao here. And he's fed it through. And a chance for Mauricio, but Jean Kim scrambling to deny Mauricio a chance of getting a shot off there. That was fabulous from Estevao. And this through ball was perfect, but Jean just coming and scrambling to claim it before Mauricio could get any sort of effort towards the ball and towards the goal. As I said, Botafogo a bit aimless, but Palmeiras know where their target is and know how to find it at this minute in time. I gotta say, that man Estevao, 18 years old, born in April 2007, has been sensational for Palmeiras so far. He has been their shining spark, and of course he will be joining Chelsea. £29.1 million Chelsea have paid for him, and they have surely picked up a real hot target for a lot of European sides. And Estevao has been fabulous in showing off his quality so far in this game for Palmeiras. Here's Jai. Out wide on the right hand side is Alan. Alan trying the cross, flicked on, and Mauricio was the threat. Rock with the overheaded effort was blocked again. My goodness, Palmeiras are knocking on the door. Botafogo really are on their last life here at this stage. Estevao, Piqueires. On the overlap, Piqueires trying the early cross, blocked, will be a corner. We've got to see this moment again. Alan's delivery was flicked on by Mauricio. See it again, Alan. Mauricio with a flick on. It was towards Roque. He tried the overhead effort. It wasn't too bad. It was slightly caught on the down spiral and then blocked. But it's certainly Palmeiras that are knocking on this door. And Botafogo are really struggling to keep them out at this stage. Just about hanging on in there. They have a corner to defend here to Botafogo. Lofted ball into the box, away by Barbosa. Flicked back into the middle by Rios, but not finding any of his teammates as that's swung back in again by Palmeiras. Punched away by Jean. Brought down, and the shot is straight at the goalkeeper by Mauricio. And Jean takes the catch. And Jean is not particularly comfortable. There's a little bit of an issue here. He said he was kind of head-butted. See that again. Ball lofted in. It's punched away by Jean. It falls lovely, chested down by Mauricio, who had the effort with his left foot. Caught it sweetly. Bobbled and bounced and was straight right down the throat in the end of the Botafogo keeper. He had a little bit of an issue, but should be okay to continue. Andy says, very frustrating if you're a Boda fan with this game. They are better than this. They're just showing their nerves too much. They're not playing like a South American free-flowing team like they can do. 100%. They've been very, very lackluster, Botafogo. And as I said, they look aimless at the minute. They can't get to grips with their own game, never mind how to deal with Palmeiras defensively. And that combination is a poison chalice, really. They can't figure out their own game, and they can't deal with the opposition. It is a dead-end street to being knocked out of this competition, unless they can find something from nothing. That was nice there from Barbosa. Artur feeding it out wide to Vitinho. Has the return ball if he wants it. Nice trying to go over the combination, but Artur thought Vitinho was going to make the run around the outside. In the end, neither player could combine there, and it ended up going for a goal kick. It looks like we're going to see our first change of the afternoon coming very shortly here. Abel Ferreira trying to get one of his players some information before he sends them onto the field. Long ball forward here for Palmeiras. Nicely held up by Rios, I believe, there. And that's going to be... sorry, not Rios. Roque. The centre forward, Vitor Roque. Roque, the Brazilian. 20-year-old, another young player. Actually only joined Palmeiras in February of this year from Real Betis. He was on loan at Real Betis and went back to Barcelona and then joined Palmeiras as that loan was ended. And Estevao giving all there, but overrun for the first time this afternoon. Didn't get his desired outcome out of that situation. So it looks like a double change will be coming here for Palmeiras. That might be Estevao's last involvement, actually. It looks like he might be the one that's coming off here. This is a very interesting decision, but Vitor Roque and Estevao are the two that are coming off. So 2 attacking changes here for Palmeiras. And it's Paulinho is coming on alongside Luigi. Yeah, Luigi Henry, the Brazilian, 19-year-old he is, and Paulinho as well coming on, 24-year-old centre forward. So 2 attacking changes for Palmeiras, and that man who's led them to this stage of control, Estevao, alongside the centre forward Vitor Roque, is off for those double changes. So 26.5 minutes of this game remaining in the 90 minutes, and not a goal between them, nothing between them at the moment, between Palmeiras and Botafogo. It's Palmeiras that have come the closest, no doubt, so far. They haven't been able to take advantage of those chances and use them to their advantage of finding the back of the net as of yet. A double change might just tweak things a little bit in this one, as I think Botafogo are going to respond to that double change, and they're going to make a double change of their own in a second. I just saw a glimpse of 2 black and white shirts on the sidelines. Here's Danilo for Botafogo. Artur central. Plays it off to Freitas on the left side. Plays it out wide to Telles. Back to Freitas. Holding on to the ball well there, Marlon Freitas. He's still going, but he was well challenged in the end. Although he's won it back off Rios. Freitas just runs out of room, has nowhere else to go, and they were patient there, Palmeiras. And now Alan trying to skip past a couple. He was brought down on the second occasion. That's a free kick and a yellow card for Artur. After that, Alan winning a couple of free kicks so far in the second half for Palmeiras, and that one, yeah, always going to be a free kick. Artur just leaving a leg out and upending Alan there. That gets him a yellow card, the Botafogo number 7. And he says they need to do something or take them to pens and ride their luck. With Bodo, I can't see them doing it at open play at the moment, but it only takes 1 minute to score a goal. That's true. And they're going to make a double change here. Botafogo. So Caoimhan is coming on for Alex Telles, and Alvaro Montoro is coming on for Alan. So Alan and Telles off, and Caoimhan and Montoro are on for Botafogo. They're responding quite quickly to that double substitution that Palmeiras made a few minutes ago. With a double substitution of their own. Jair. Right from the back there, where Botafogo as they play it forward, switching it out to the left-hand side. Nice first takedown there on that left-hand side by the substitute. Montoro. Here he is again, in for Alan. Apologies, Alvaro Montoro, 18 years old, from Argentina. Joined Botafogo just before this tournament, June the 4th. Just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, sorry. From Vélez Sarsfield in Argentina. for £6.9 million. And here's Palmeiras trying to work into the box, but Paulinho was blocked, and that goes out for a throw. Got a very irritated nose at the minute. Apologies about that. Andy says with the substitutions, they want to win it in the 90 minutes. Bodo are playing for pens. Let's see what their subs can do. At least they're trying to change things. Well, yeah. You can certainly see Palmeiras making those attacking changes. They want to make sure they can try and score. They want to win this, of course. Botafogo, as you say there, it looks like they are just kind of sitting a bit deeper, maybe hoping for a bit of luck, but hoping for something to fall their way. But they maybe have realised, and probably a little bit sensibly, realised this might not be their day. They're not playing anywhere near their best, and maybe they can just try and sneak this to penalties and try and win it on pens. But they both have made changes, so we'll see who reacts the better to those substitutions and who deals with those substitutions better and performs better because of it. Here's Freitas. Barbosa. Freitas again. Savarino coming very deep with the ball here. Savarino. Let's work back again to Jair. Freitas again. Not in a hurry at the moment, Botafogo. Here's Danilo. Jair Cunha. Back to Barbosa. Botafogo, a lot of possession in and around the halfway line, but Palmeiras not really biting. Although on that occasion, Igor Jesus dropped deeper and did win the throw, or the free kick off Palmeiras there. A little late from Bruno Fuchs, tracking his man into midfield and committing a little bit of a clumsy challenge there, the centre back. Maybe that's what the patience of Botafogo was waiting for. And they're going to make another change in a minute here, Botafogo, so we'll see that change coming in a second after this free kick, surely. So we are into the 70th minute of this game. Remember, level after 90, extra time and penalties to decide a winner. Can we get a winner within the next 20 minutes or so? Botafogo take the free kick short. Nice 1-2 there. Savarino edging to the box, and the shot skied well wide there from Savarino. Tried to absolutely rocket that one, but the rocket took a different course of action than he thought it would have, and that goes behind for a goal kick. Right, both sides are making a third substitution of the game. The other Alan, the Palmeiras Alan, is off. He's been replaced by Mike. Or Mikey? Mikey it is, yeah. 32-year-old Mikey is coming on for Alan. And the third substitution here for Botafogo is going to see Savarino, who just had that effort, skied over the bar. He's going to be replaced by Joaquin Correa. So Joaquin Correa on for Savarino. Matthew says, do you think they can both score? Not at the moment. I don't believe so, but we'll see. I know it might be a difficult thing to decide. I've got one player in my mind. Who do you think is player of the match? Do vote at play.fifa.com/POTM. The link is there on the screen, going across the screen if you want to go and vote for your player of the match. That will be revealed around about the 90-minute mark. We might be going past the 90 minutes if it stays as it is here. Matthew, I don't think they can both score at the minute. But I do think if it's Botafogo that scores first, I do think Palmeiras will equalise. But if it's Palmeiras that score first, I see Botafogo maybe dropping a little bit further and maybe struggling from what I've seen so far, struggling to deal with that pressure of trying to find a way back into the game. So who knows, but I think if one scores, they're more likely to pass through and carry through with that lead than the other, and that will be Palmeiras at the minute. Here they come with the attack. It's Mauricio Piqueras with a cross. Paulinho's header. Oh, great save by Jean. Had to be made. Had to do it. And it was Paulinho with a header at the front post that could have found that breakthrough. But that's a great save by the Botafogo keeper. Said down that left-hand side has been a threat all day. It's Piqueras with a delivery. It's not the highest. It's not the most whipping of crosses. But Paulinho does so well in adjusting. Lifting the ball towards the box. Or towards the goal. And it's a very good save. With a right hand there of Jean. And that's a very good save to carry it behind for the corner. Great opportunity for Palmeiras there. Now they have the corner. Mauricio to deliver, left-footed into the box, punched away by Jean again, who's the first to it. Starting to turn into a bit of a goalkeeping display from Jean to keep Botafogo level in this game. And that was a good piece of defending against the youngster there of Luigi Henry. And that's going to be a throw-in on that left-hand side for Palmeiras. So Luigi, the one winning that throw. Piqueras. Can't really work it towards the box. Fed back and then down the line it goes. Piqueras, nice little 1-2, trying to find the 19-year-old there, Luigi. And he was hit in the hand with the clearance, so therefore handball, free kick to Botafogo. Well, look at that effort again, just seeing that opportunity once more. What an opportunity. Another missed chance from Palmeiras, but another one of those nervy moments they somehow get away with, Botafogo, as there's another cooling break. Of course, cooling break in both halves. A reminder for you, don't forget, we have another game on the way later for you. Benfica against Chelsea, an all-European battle in the round of 16. And the winner of this game will play the winner of that game in the quarterfinals. That's tonight, 9 o'clock UK time here on LFS. With 15 minutes of the 90 still to go here in Philly. It is still awaiting that opening goal of this tie between Palmeiras and Botafogo. Will we get a last-minute winner to see one of these two teams through, or will extra time and penalties be needed to separate these two? That's looking the more likely at the moment, the extra time, but anything can still happen. As the Arab says, it's been pretty embarrassing for Botafogo, but you never know. Football is very unpredictable, and Bota can somehow pull off something crazy, or Palmeiras could secure a win. It's still unpredictable what way this game could go. As you say, it could go either way at the minute. That's what's so intriguing. It is Palmeiras that are looking the more likely, but as somebody said, I think it might have been Andy or Zarab or someone said earlier on, you don't take your chances, you could be punished, and that could be the issue. That could be something that could haunt Palmeiras. The fact that they have been the better side, but just haven't been able to show it in terms of the scoreline. Yes, Arab was the one that said it earlier on about they don't take their chances, they could be punished, Palmeiras, and that's completely correct. We've seen it so many times before. There's a very good crowd inside Lincoln Financial Field, I've got to say. I didn't really pay attention to it in the first half, but looking at the fans in the second here, oh, there's a man with a pig's mask on. So you always see something crazy. With that drinks break, there was a bit of a dance cam, a bit of a dance-off in the Lincoln Financial Field there, keeping the energy of the fans up. Well, it's been a very hot day, and a day where it's been anything but hot on the field, really, with these two teams There's work for both of these sides still to do if they want to progress, but can they find it in the next 15 to 20 minutes, including the added time in this first half, or the second half, sorry, as that's going to be a corner to Palmeiras. And Mackay was the one that won that corner. 29 degrees Celsius at Lincoln Financial Field. It's not as hot as I thought it was, but it's still quite hot. Another corner for Palmeiras. Mauricio to deliver again. Left-footed, punched away by Jean again. It's the second ball where the threat is. Another header, and that's a overzealous challenge by Mackay, but the referee's going to allow the counter-attack that didn't really come to nothing with the advantage. It's won back by Piqueres, who did very well there. Rios now. Got options. Out wide to Mauricio. He's got the overlap of Mackay, but Mauricio goes for the cross. Back post, and it's gone all the way through. I think I might have took a touch there from Vitinho at the back post, because Paulinho was drifting in right behind him. And Vitinho took no risks in just tapping it out for the corner. Once again, that onslaught from Palmeiras. Can they find the advantage and get that goal that could see them through in 90 minutes here? Abel Ferreira watches on. Ball delivered in, but the corner goes wayward and out for a goal kick to Botafogo. Yeah, this competition's a bit weird. So contracts are a bit confusing, as their ab says about Modric. Contracts are confusing. I'm really confused, because the Estevao, the Palmeiras player, his contract ends, and he starts his Chelsea contract on the 1st of July, according to what I've read. But I don't know whether this is competition specific, whether they will play till the end of the competition, like a clause in the contract that says they will play with their current club until the end of the contract, or until the end of the competition, until they go out. I'm not too sure. Now here comes Palmeiras again with Paulinho into the box. Trying to find a shot, Luigi. And he gets the effort off. Deflected. It will be another corner. They're all over Botafogo again here, Palmeiras. That's another effort from Luigi. Took a deflection off Barbosa. And that will be another corner to Palmeiras. I think their third or fourth corner in the last 5 minutes. They're 12th overall in this game. Can Jean do again here, the goalkeeper? Mauricio, left-footed delivery. Away at the near post this time. Brought down by Jai, who whips it in again. It's cleared away again. And Mackay there. Tried to feed it out wide, but to no one in green and white. And that goes for a throw in to Botafogo on the far side. 10 minutes to go. Still goalless. Is there a moment that is awaiting for one of these two teams? Patrick says, can the match be a draw? It can't. It's knockout, so we will play to a finish. One of these two teams will go home. One of them will go through, no matter what happens. After the 90 minutes, extra time, and then penalties. So that will be the case. One of these two will be going through, and one will be going out at the end of play today, no matter what. I agree with you, Andy, about the passionate fans, yeah. I was actually going to say that earlier when there was a chance. I think I said something about it in the first half, about how kind of South American fans and I think African fans, in terms of football, are the two best continents for football fans on the world. Because when they come to games, you see them in the World Cup a lot of the times, their fans are on a different level with their celebration. They're singing, they're dancing, they're enjoying the atmosphere the whole way through. Their team could be 3-1 down, 3-0 down. They're still dancing and bouncing and enjoying the atmosphere. It's fantastic. Certainly South American fans and African fans are the two sets, two continents with the best sets of fans in world football, in my opinion. Certainly when it comes to international tournaments, World Cups and the like, you see it really kind of shown. And sometimes, considering today, there's not been a lot to cheer for for these two teams, really. Certainly it wasn't in the first half, but the atmosphere was up. Both sets of fans were enjoying themselves, and that through ball there. And Botafogo towards The left winger didn't quite find its target. And they're going to roll the dice one final time here, Botafogo. 2 changes incoming. It'll be their final 2 changes of the game. So let's see. Those final 2 changes of the 5 can make a difference here for Botafogo. So I can get confirmation of those 2 that are coming on. Some confusion over the numbers there. But Danilo is certainly coming off. He's coming off. He's going to be replaced here. And coming on are going to be Newton for Danilo. And the second substitution is going to see Jair Cunha off. And he's going to be replaced by Caio Pantaleão. So Caio is coming on. So Newton and Caio replacing Danilo and Jair Cunha. %, Andy. It's fantastic to see the fans. They absolutely love it. I mean, certainly, you would love to be in with them, just enjoying the atmosphere. It would be absolutely fantastic, incredible to just soak up that atmosphere. It would be completely different to what a European game is, where it's just a lot of shouting from a lot of European fans. It's a lot of shouting and kind of singing. Well, singing every now and again when their team are playing well. But one thing about the sets of fans from South America and Africa, as I said, they could be 3-0 down and they're still celebrating. They're still enjoying themselves, which is good to see. That would never happen in a Premier League game. That would never happen in a European game, where the set of fans would be still celebrating and enjoying themselves if they're 3-0 down. They would be deathly silent, the sets of fans, and if they're still in the stadium, which is crazy in and of itself. Palmeiras have just made another change as well there. They have brought on Facundo Torres, replacing Mauricio. So another change there. So they've still got 1 sub, I believe. I don't know if they actually do. They have 1 sub available. They've only made 4 subs, but they made them on 3 different occasions. So I think they are done and dusted there, Palmeiras, for their subs. And certainly Botafogo are. Andy says, I love a good underdog story. Would love one of these 2 to get to the final. Yeah, I would love someone what we didn't expect to get to the final. You would absolutely love that. But of course, your brain, your heart tells you want someone like a Palmeiras or a Botafogo or someone of that ilk to get to a final. But then your brain takes over and goes, yeah, but it's probably going to be European sides that are going to do their very best. And it would have to be some sort of shock to not be, for example, a Real Madrid-Man City final. That's, at this stage, with both on opposite sides of the draw, it would be pretty unlikely that isn't the case. But who knows? Anything's still possible. The Arab says he thinks there's still something in this for a late winner. Well, here Botafogo down the right-hand side here. Back into the middle. The ball switched out to the left side, but the cross, it's again too deep. Just wasteful again, Botafogo. They had 2 shots in the first half. They've had 2 shots in the second half. The only difference is they've had 1 shot on target in the second, where they had none in the first. But minimal improvement. Well, you compare Palmeiras. They had 7 shots without a shot on target in the first. 8 shots in the second, but 3 of those 8 shots have been on target. So they've improved. Palmeiras, their attacking threat, but still haven't found the net yet with those 3 shots on target that they have had in this second half. So another free kick there for Palmeiras, just on the edge of their own half. Well, domestically, these 2 going pretty well. Palmeiras in 4th in Serie A and Brazil. Just 2 points off the league leaders, Flamengo. And the other team, Botafogo, they're down in 8th They're just 4 points behind their opponents today, Palmeiras, in the table. After 11 games or so played from the Brasileiro Serie A. The first part of their season, of course. They play the winter-to-winter season rather than the summer-to-summer. What we see is the customary across Europe, the summer-to-summer seasons. August to May, whereas it's January, February to November, December in the likes of South America. Two and a half minutes to the 90 to go. I think anybody who isn't a gambler would say that this is going to end a draw. And here's a chance. Shot well over the bar. That was wasteful again. Palmeiras that time. See this again. Chip ball forward. Nice takedown. And then the shot from Paulinho was just skied over the bar. But as I said, anybody that isn't a gambler, anybody that doesn't like to take risks, would be simply saying at this minute in time, it's pretty safe probably to say, that we're on the verge of possibly heading to extra time here. Unless something drastic happens in the final few minutes, or a big mistake, we might be edging our way towards another 30 minutes of play here in Philadelphia. Luigi there was shoved as he got onto the ball. That's going to be another free kick to Palmeiras. Giving away a lot of free kicks today, Botafogo have. A lot of them. 14 fouls against them today, Botafogo. Last minute of the 90 then, here at Lincoln Financial Field. Here's Mike. Torres now down the right side, tossing and battling, but losing out to Barbosa. And now Botafogo trying to have a bit of a counter threat, but dispossessed. And fairly, says the referee, although Igor Jesus thought he was fouled. But the French referee, Francois Letessier, thought there was no issue there. Let's see how long will be added on at the end of the 90 here. I wonder how long they will add, the officials, to this post 90 minutes. As Botafogo try and break away again, but again there's just no room, no way through this Palmeiras team. And all afternoon there's been lack of counter-attacking threat all the way through from Botafogo. You've got to say, Palmeiras have had that covered over all day. There's been nothing in counter-attacking threat from Botafogo. 5 additional minutes at the end of the 90 then. Here is Meike. Torres lays it back to Martinez, and now out to the left-hand side for Piqueres. Trying to work the angle, work its way towards the box, the ball here. All the way back here to Gustavo Gomez. Guy. Now Meike again, back to Gustavo Gomez. Was under pressure. Gomez was in trouble and he's given the ball away cheaply, and now could there be a breakaway through here? No, there's not, because that's good covering by Bruno Fuchs, who got back across and defended well for Palmeiras, but that was a slight chance there for Botafogo. It was Caoimhan that was running through. He just couldn't get the better of it and his man. Still 0-0. 3.5 minutes of the game to go before extra time is going to be needed. And then possibly penalties. Decide the winner of our first round of 16 tie in this competition. It has been a somewhat disappointing affair in the first half, but much more intriguing in the second. Still, we await that opening goal if we're ever going to get one. in this game. The minute is looking less and less likely, but here's a chance for Piqueres down the left-hand side. Luigi couldn't make the most of it there as he was rolled away from the ball. A little bit more open in the last few minutes, just maybe a bit more desperate from Palmeiras as they have a player down. They have two players down actually. Richard Rios is one of them. He's got back to his feet. He's okay, but whoever the other player is still stayed down. And maybe Palmeiras have just kind of settled and gone, yeah, let's just wait to extra time to see what we can do. But there's Abel Ferreira, the head coach of Palmeiras. And clearly, from the way he made his changes, wanted his players to try and find the advantage to win this game, but haven't been able to yet. And that was a foul on Montoro there. It's going to get Botafogo a free kick with 2 minutes to go here. A chance to try and lift the ball in. Could this be Botafogo's moment? They've actually gone short with a free kick. Freitas, I don't know if either side want to win this night. They don't want to risk losing it, probably. A real 1-2 combinations here from Botafogo. Down the right-hand side it comes. Artur trying to find something, but there's no way through at the minute. Less than 90 seconds remain. I think it's going to be inevitable now what's going to come, but Botafogo still battling, and they've lost the ball there. And now Palmeiras, if they want to try and break away, it's a 3-on-3. Can they make it count? And he was dragged back there. That's going to be a yellow card. And a free kick to Palmeiras. It was Newton with a drag back. And that's going to be a free kick and a yellow. It was Paulinho that was dragged back by Newton. That's going to be a free kick. Probably last chance saloon in this one. In the 90 minutes to try and win it for Palmeiras. One last remaining hope to try and rescue a win in the dying embers and save themselves from extra time. Let's see if Botafogo can hang on in there with this free kick. The Palmeiras fans praying. The pig mask has come off. And he is praying that fan. His team can find a narrow advantage here from this set piece to win this game for them. It's Piqueres over it. It's last chance. Left-footed delivery into the box. Headed behind. It will be a corner. There is time to take it, surely. There is. It's Newton's header. It's a corner to Palmeiras. 5 minutes is up, but this is surely their last chance now. Facundo Torres to take this corner. Right-hand side. This is surely the last effort of this game for Palmeiras to try and win it. Otherwise, it's extra time. Torres with the delivery, left-footed, headed away. And there is the final whistle. The end of the 90. We knew it was coming. We probably expected it to come. And there it is. 96 hard-fought minutes ends in a goalless draw. We have still extra time surely on the way. 2 30-minute halves, or 2 15-minute halves, 30 minutes overall, before possibly penalties is needed to separate these two. We've played 96 minutes and not a goal between them. Is there one to come in extra time, or will it be penalties? The ultimate decider to pick a winner of this game. We'll find out. Extra time on the way in just a moment. Welcome back to the Club World Cup live here on LFS this evening. It is extra time on the way between Palmeiras and Botafogo. Goalless over the 96 minutes. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We're right on the verge of 28,000 subscribers. We are nearly there. If you can help us get over the line, we are not too far away. I can't show you there because we've had a malfunction with that, but I can tell you, find it. As YouTube doesn't even give you it live anymore. As we'll do the coin toss for extra time. So we'll see what the two sides can produce in the next 30 minutes. Because, as I said, it was Palmeiras that were the better overall in the game. But again, as I said, just couldn't take the advantage when it was their way, and ultimately weren't able to take the advantage. We are 15 subscribers away from now 12 subscribers away from 28,000. If you could help us get there, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you haven't hit that like button or subscribed or turned on notifications, please do so now. It would be greatly appreciated. We'll run this competition to the finish on July the 13th. Already our first knockout game. Neither side want to give up their place in this competition. Palmeiras and Botafogo locked at 0-0. And another two 15-minute halves to come to see if they can find a winner, or will we need penalties to decide that for us. We get back underway then for our first half and extra time. It's Palmeiras that get us underway. They kick from right to left, Botafogo left to right, as it was in the first half of normal time. Let's see how it fares for both teams. One thing that will come into consideration is fatigue, tiredness. Will come into consideration in the this one, and Palmeiras did make that last change before they started the extra time, and Anibal Moreno is on for Emiliano Martinez. So Moreno on for Martinez for Palmeiras, And both sides, of course, get an extra sub for extra time, obviously. Which is currently available for both teams. Here's Piqueres. Finding anybody there as it goes back. We can confirm there's been some breaking news as well in the last few minutes. That Chelsea have agreed a deal to sign Jamie Gittins from Borussia Dortmund. So Chelsea playing a little later. And off the field, they've been very busy back in West London, getting that deal over the line for Jamie Gittins. So we'll talk more about that in our later game, of course, this evening. And they're also getting Estevao, of course, the Palmeiras left winger. He's going to be joining Chelsea as well. So Chelsea getting their business done at the minute. And they've agreed a deal for Jamie Gittins, which is a good signing, I would say. But we'll talk more about that in our second watch-along of the evening, a little later on. Jean thumps it away. Palmeiras trying to have some sort of, or Botafogo, sorry, trying to have some sort of possession in Palmeiras' half, but they didn't succeed on that occasion. And have given away a throw-in to Palmeiras. It just seems like Botafogo haven't been able to compete with Palmeiras all afternoon. By whichever means they've tried, they just haven't been able to. But the argument will be made, they're still level in this game. They haven't been able to take advantage of the dominance that they've so far accordingly had at Palmeiras. And you would be right. They haven't been able to take advantage of the shots and the chances they've had, and could that come back to punish them? We'll find out. As they try and work it into the box here, Botafogo scrambled away. Will be a corner though, as they fail to scramble it away anywhere near good enough there. Palmeiras. It's going to be a free kick, a corner to Botafogo. Which is a rarity from this game. Chance for Correa to deliver one here. Fucking Correa. Right-footed delivery. Punched away by Waverton. Arturanai. On the right side, he wins another corner for Botafogo. That's more positive. Much more positive. So another corner to Botafogo, this time on the right side. It's Correa to deliver again. Lifted it in, and the header from Igor Jesus is well off target. That was a chance. The chance denied and not taken by Igor Jesus. Their main man. And he couldn't take his opportunity there. We still have that poll, by the way, in the chat ongoing. It has been probably like that all afternoon, that it's been Palmeiras that have been the team that the chat has been voting for, over 500 votes. Thank you very, very much, everybody that's got involved in the poll. Who is going through to the quarterfinals? 65% say Palmeiras, 35% overall for Botafogo. So it's been like that, that Palmeiras have had the advantage, and most predicting that Palmeiras will be going through for a very long time. We will keep that poll open to see what the margin of difference is. We will keep it open until at least the end of extra time. If we go to penalties, we will close it before penalties take place, and your predictions will be locked in. But thank you very much, everybody, for getting involved. It's been great so far. The game hasn't been fantastic, but the interaction and the enjoyment of having you with us for this one has been amplified tenfold. It's been incredible, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Artur. Back it goes. Botafogo having a better possession at the minute. Just quite interesting. Oh, he's lost the ball. Oh, got away with that there. My goodness, Barbosa. Got very, very lucky. That was a nice ball there. Down the left channel by Mauricio, and Luigi there. Dispossessed. Torres again. Luigi. Better from Palmeiras. Here's Richard Rios. Told to have a shot! And he had it. And that was a good save by John again. Richard Rios had the best chance for Palmeiras in the first half of the game. And this time, a much better strike. Much more threatening. And it's a very good save by John. But a very sweet strike from Richard Rios to try and give Palmeiras the advantage, and he's got a corner for his team out of that situation. Chance with a corner here for Palmeiras. Their 13th or 14th corner of this game. Their 14th corner. Incredible. To be delivered from this right-hand side. Left-footed delivery off the near post. Rios tried to have the header. They're crying for handball here. The Palmeiras players. The referee says no. Jerome Brissart in the VAR booth will have a look, but they are incessant, the Palmeiras players, that is a penalty. Let's see it again. No, it comes off the chest of Igor Jesus. That's not a penalty. And I think Jerome Brissart will have one look at that and say no penalty, and I think that will be correct. Rios tried to go over the header. It came off the chest here. You can't really see. It came off here of Igor Jesus. I think it will be very harsh, and there it is, the decision from VAR. The check is complete. No overruling. We play on. And I think they're completely correct. I think there was no hand involved from Igor Jesus. He did have his arm out, but it didn't hit his arm. So obviously it can't be handball. But obviously you can see why the Palmeiras players wanted it. And they thought they might have got the advantage there, but in the end they didn't. And rightfully so, because it wasn't a handball. So that was Bruno Fuchs to knock that one out from that long ball down the right channel there from Botafogo. It's got them a throw down the right side. 9 minutes into the additional time, or the extra time, sorry, of our first half. Botafogo loose in their possession again, and as Richard Rios tries to get forward, he was held on to there as the free kick taken quickly. Here's Rios. Lovely little move round the corner. Out to the right-hand side, here it comes. For Palmeiras, dribbling through the lines. Here's a chance. There's a goal. That's what they've been waiting for. And finally the breakthrough for Palmeiras. They've been the better side, and what a run, what a move, what a goal. We have waited 100 minutes for, and Palmeiras have the advantage. Paulinho with the goal. Devastating for Botafogo. Elation for Palmeiras. What a moment. He had been incredibly threatening since coming on, Paulinho. An unbelievable footwork and skill in the lead-up, and the shot was as simple as you like. The 24-year-old Brazilian could be lauded a hero for Palmeiras here. It starts on the right-hand side. They drive in field. The ball's played forward. Palmeiras work it into the box. Lovely little footwork from Paulinho. His teammate drags the defender away, chops inside onto his left, and sees that far corner gaping. And he decides to roll it past John, whose full stretch couldn't reach it, and finds that far corner. That is a lovely goal. And what a huge moment in this game. Palmeiras have been begging for it. They've been desperate for it. And in the 100th minute, it is Paulinho that finds the difference, finds the narrowest advantages, and Palmeiras lead by a goal to nil. Lincoln Financial Field is bouncing at one end of the green and white. And Palmeiras have that advantage and have broken the deadlock. Palmeiras 1, Botafogo 0. And there's still 20 minutes of this game to go. There you go. Finally, we have that breakthrough. And could that just open this game up a little bit more and make it very clear now to Botafogo what they need to do? Their kind of task is clear now. They don't score Botafogo, they're going out. That's pretty simple. What a moment. Look at that. The pig masks are back on. The elation and relief with that goal. The team in green in the stadium that bleeds green. And Botafogo are going to make another change here, by the way. Their 6th change of the game. This will be their final change, obviously, due to the extra one they got for extra time. And they're going to have one last roll of the dice, I think. Palmeiras are going to do that as well, if I'm right here. They are. So both sides are going to make that final change that they receive for extra time. So Arthur Cabral is on for Botafogo. He's replaced Marlon Freitas, the captain. And Palmeiras, they've brought on Mikel to replace their goal scorer, Paulinho. So Paulinho on for the impact. He was brought on, Paulinho, in the 64th minute of this game for Vitor Roque. And in the 100th minute, he has made the difference as it stands that would be sending Palmeiras through to the quarterfinals. We're not there yet, though. Remember, 2 minutes of this first half of extra time to go, plus another whole half. So there is still a lot of time for this to change once again. There's a little bit of a boiling over of tempers. More from the Botafogo side of things. Well, we said it before the game. We said it early in the game. Palmeiras are going to have to beat their recent demons if they're going to knock out Botafogo out of this competition. Unbeaten in the last 5 meetings in all competitions, dating back to November 2023, when they beat them 4-3 in the Brazilian League. When they had actually won 3 out of the 4 in that run. They were actually on a very good run, Palmeiras, at that time, between 22 and 23. Without a win in their last 5 against Botafogo. Can this be the day that changes? They want to try and add to this lead. Ball into the box here. Brought down by Facundo Torres. Lays it off. Guedes. There could be a hand in there. It's going to be a corner. Again, they're calling for penalty. Will be a corner just. See this again. It was Piqueres on the overlap. Well, his arm was involved, but was it enough from Vitinho there? I think he was on the floor trying to block the ball, and I don't think he used his arm to block it. And it was inadvertent, so it's just a corner. Abel Ferreira saying that should be a penalty. His players were agreeing and saying it should have been a penalty, but the assistant and the officials say no, just a corner. 3 minutes of the first half of extra time to go of the additional time now. Torres with delivery. Headed away. Flick back in towards the box, but the flick on there from Gustavo Gomez is well over the bar. So 3 added minutes then, as I said, on to the end of the first half of extra time here. Marçal was yellow carded there. Newton Marçal was given a yellow. There was also a booking for Esteval way earlier in the game, whatever that was about. As Jesus into the box here, trying to rescue something for Botafogo as the cross comes in. Headed away. Not very far, the shot! Blocked. Goodness me. It's got a little bit scrappy now. Much more open, and Botafogo are trying their hardest to fight back. They're giving it away cheaply there. Fuchs with a switch ball. Nice little defted ball towards Rios. Now Torres, down the left-hand side it comes. Luigi now. Has to reverse it back. And finding it into the midfields. Moreno. Linking up with Luigi, down this left-hand side, Moreno. Luigi now. Torres, and they're not in a massive hurry to get towards the box there, Palmeiras, but they found a little bit of a gap there, but couldn't make it count as the attacker there was pushed off the ball. Now a chance for Botafogo in possession. Last minute of the first half of extra time. Palmeiras 1, Botafogo 0. Artur. The game slowed down quite significantly since Botafogo got on the ball there about 30 seconds ago. Just Palmeiras just dropping a lot deeper now, dropping back. Not taking too many unnecessary risks, really. They know their job. Defend, and you find yourself into the quarterfinals, as that's a foul. That's another yellow card for a Botafogo player. And it's Montoro this time that is booked. And that's going to be a free kick. It's Guy that was brought down there by Alvaro Montoro. And there, before that free kick could be taken, there's the first half of extra time done and dusted. 15 minutes to go then. And in this first half of extra time, we saw what we've been desperate to see the whole way through the game. And that was a goal. Paulinho's goal that is at the moment the difference between winning and going to penalties for Palmeiras. They are heading through as it stands. There's still 15 minutes for Botafogo to try and change that. We'll be back in a moment for the second half of extra time. Welcome back to the Club World Cup live here, live watch-along commentary with me, Caoimhan Ferris, here on LFS. For this one, the round of 16, half-time and extra time, it is Palmeiras 1, Botafogo 0. That 100th minute goal from Paulinho is at the moment I stress, sending Palmeiras through to the quarter-finals, where they will face either Benfica or Chelsea in the quarters. But there is still a second half of extra time to be played. Another 15 minutes at least for Botafogo to try and rescue what has been, up to this point, a very positive tournament. But today, they haven't been at it. And can they, even when they're not at their best, rescue something of a miracle out of this game in the next 15 minutes? If they don't, they're going out. It's that simple. We're back on the way then. 15 minutes and counting. That's what's remaining. That's what could remain from one of these two teams' campaigns in this competition. Will it be Palmeiras or will it be Botafogo that will be heading to the quarters? At the minute, it's Palmeiras that have that 1-goal advantage, but can Botafogo score to level it and maybe either bring us to penalties or maybe try and turn it around completely? Yeah, they're trying to get into the box quickly, but getting cleared away as the shot from long range. Took a deflection from Newton. That will be a corner. It's worth a hit. Took a deflection off, I believe, Moreno there. Will be a corner. Look at those green and white flags and shirts behind the goal there. Ball in delivered. Oh, and the header is over the bar from Igor Jesus. Another good delivery and another free header for the star man, the number 99. And he just couldn't keep the header down. What a chance. Yeah, he was leaning back into the header. He couldn't stretch him back to get the header, and he was ahead of it. It was always awkward from that sort of angle, but he felt he should have done better. Reminder for you can vote for player of the match. That will be done and revealed by the final whistle. If we are not going to penalties, we will have it at the end of extra time. Play.fifa.com/POTM to vote for your player of the match. Long kick there forward by Palmeiras. The ball comes all the way back to the centre backs. They're trying to scramble it away from goal, as far away from their goal as they can get it. Their task, as I said, is simple. Well, simple for both teams. Keep the ball out of the back of your own net for Palmeiras, and they're through. Botafogo failed to score. They're out. It's that simple. Here's Artur. Heavy touch. Might a bit of a resistance, but they keep the ball, Botafogo. Barbosa. Correa. Made it forward. Nice little give and go there. Correa's into the box. He's got a chance. Can he cut it back across? Oh, it took a deflection to kick it away. There was a man waiting in the middle. I think it might have been Igor Jesus. And some sort of touch in there just deflected the ball away from danger as Jesus with a header. Cleared away. And up and back to Jean. Much better from Botafogo. They know what they need to do, and they're trying their best in making it happen. Correa again. Closed down quicker this time, but he's got the ball round the corner. Newton will whack it. Whack it into the back of one of the Palmeiras defenders. It's kept alive, though, as it deflects out wide here. Correa. Working it round the corner again. Give and goes, trying to work the angle. Artur. Forced away from the goal. Now Barbosa. Thumping it forward towards the box, and over the head of everybody in there, and they wanted a corner there, Botafogo. They thought it came off the head of Meke, but the officials don't agree, and that's a goal kick to Palmeiras. 11 minutes to go, plus the additional, whatever additional time they could add on to the end of this. And he says statistically the right team are winning, but Palmeiras need to play better than this to progress even further. The right team are winning for chances created. Yeah, I agree. All day it's been a struggle for Botafogo to create chances. They've actually, in extra time, they've created more shots in extra time than they did in the whole of the 90 minutes. 2 shots in the first half of extra time, and so far in the 4.5 minutes of the extra time we've played in the second half, they've had 4 shots, Botafogo. Now, none of those have been on target, but they're getting into the right areas now. Oh, there's a shot from Artur, and it curled away from goal. Well, that was a good chance, but at least they're getting those into those areas now, Botafogo. It could be too little, too late, but rather late than never, as the sayings go. Yeah, and that one was always going wide from Artur. Certainly had the goalkeeper chasing, but he got no contact to it. And there's the frustration from those Botafogo fans, but they're still supporting, they're still singing, they're still trying to give their side that little added advantage, something that they can use to try and get back into this game. A team that more than matched the European champions PSG, that were narrowly beaten by Atletico, but in the end it didn't matter. They're a team that have performed really well in the groups, but in the knockout stages, if you don't show up and perform, you need luck. And today, they haven't performed, and their luck hasn't been on their side today either, Botafogo. But really, in the grand scheme of things, overall, they've just been poor on the afternoon. And Palmeiras haven't been anywhere near good enough for themselves, but have had that extra little added advantage that Botafogo just haven't been able to find in the attacking third today. There's still time if they want to change that here. Palmeiras in no hurry to get forward to press the ball now. They're just sitting deeper, allowing Botafogo to have the possession. They try and thread it through the lines. Blocked. Slide there. It's a little bit awkward, but they do get it away, Palmeiras, and want to send a man on a run there in Luigi, but I think he might have been offside anyway. Barbosa. Correa. Trying to get forward again. Vitinho going for the early cross. Up in the air. Jai was chasing that one, but he couldn't get the header to it. Brought out wide here. A chance to try and work it into the box, but again blocked away from Caoimhan there. One-way traffic at the minute. Botafogo attacking, Palmeiras defending. That's what we kind of expect. This narrow advantage for Palmeiras. They'd rather believe in themselves sitting deeper and defending this and seeing it out, rather than trying to find a second to dead the game and risk conceding. And Luigi has gone down, so whether he will receive some treatment or not. But look at those Palmeiras fans. They have been the happier since the goal. They've been well on it today. Maybe if their two teams haven't. And I've got to say credit to both sets of fans. They've been fantastic this afternoon. There's a little bit of a break. And we see that goal again. What an effort from Paulinho. Incredible. Just incredible. And that's the magic moment, in which there could only be one, it seems, in this game. As Luigi is okay to continue, whatever the issue was with him there. He's waved back onto the field, and now Correa trying to work it between the lines. They flicked it over the top. Palmeiras trying to scramble it away, and it will bounce out for a throw-in on the left-hand side here. Caoimhan is the one that is over to try and take it for Botafogo. He goes short on this one. Montoro through the lines. Correa into the box. Correa trying to work it, but blocked. And well defended in there. Well, Palmeiras have dropped off, but oh, that's a one! Oh, he's hit it wide. What a delivery! Oh my goodness, what a chance! What a ball, straight from the throw-in. See this again. I gotta see a replay of this. From the throw, it's worked. What a ball to the back post for Botafogo. And it's Vitinho round the back. And he strikes it with the instep of his right foot. but directs it wide onto the side netting. Was that their chance, Botafogo? Was that their effort? Was that their moment? You would probably feel it was. As I was just about to say that Palmeiras were sitting deep, but maybe too deep. Now they've stepped a little bit further forward. 5 minutes of the 120 to go. Here's Torres. Bit of attack here for Palmeiras. A rarity in this second half of extra time. Torres. Luigi. Rolls it forward. The ball across right at John in the Botafogo goal. As there's going to be a stoppage here as two players combined up the field there. Or collided, sorry. Combined. Collided. It's Barbosa and it's going to be a red card. It's Gustavo Gomez. He's got a second yellow. He's off. And the captain for Palmeiras, he was going to be suspended for the next game no matter what happened. We'll see this again, whatever he's done with Barbosa here. He's just kind of grappled him and thrown him to the floor. And I mean, that's just stupid. And right away, Barbosa's certainly saying he has to get a yellow. And he did. He got a second yellow. And that means red. And could the Palmeiras captain, who was already missing the quarter-final, no matter what, with that yellow card he got earlier in the game, could he just have made it that much more difficult for his team to get over the line and get the job done here? And Gustavo Gomez will trudge off the field, but it's all of his own doing. He can argue, he can complain, he can have issues, but it's all of his own doing. And that's, I mean, it's the most Brazilian thing you've ever seen, really, surely. It's the fourth red card between meetings of these two sides in the last 8. Previously, 3 yellow cards, or 3 red cards in the last 8 meetings, 2 of which for Palmeiras. So this is their 3rd yellow card in 9 meetings against Botafogo for Palmeiras. Gustavo Gomez is taking his time. I mean, he's doing a lap of the pitch here. He shakes his head as he leaves the field, but shake your head all you want. You're the captain and you basically, at this minute in time, are putting your side under so much more pressure than they need to, considering they're already under pressure to get over the line. If there's ever a naive moment, it was that. And Gustavo Gomez is down the tunnel. Can Botafogo make it count now with that red card? The ball's into the box, it's bobbling around, it's not cleared away. This shot is absolutely dreadful. From Vitinho again this time. And he's scooped it that high. It's straight up in the air and behind for a goal kick. Frustration becoming even more evident for those Botafogo fans. They're quite contrasting for the green and white of the Palmeiras fans. They're happy, they're celebrating, and they're loving the weather and this game. Is it just going to be not enough time, really, for Botafogo? Can Palmeiras just about get over the line and get the job done? There's just a minute of the 120 left. Surely there will be added time on top of that, but who knows? Palmeiras sloppy there as they clear the ball away. There's the one last chance for Botafogo. There might just be down the left side for Igor Jesus, who I think might won the corner off Gué there. Will be a corner. Smart from Igor Jesus. He knew he was going nowhere, and he just decided to win the corner off Gué. Their 6th corner of the game. Correa to deliver, right-footed. It's deep, it's high, it's flicked across, but it's flicked behind for a goal kick. And is that No, it might not be, because there's going to be 5 added minutes at the end of the 120. 5 added minutes. There is still time. Unless there is something else in this for Botafogo. It will be Palmeiras that will be going through. Benfica, Chelsea will play the winner of this. Of course, they will, both teams, not play their quarter-final until around about 6 days' time, or just short of 7 days. It will be the early hours of next Saturday morning that when this quarter-final will be played. So there's a good week of rest. And they will probably need it, these Palmeiras players, if they can hang on here. Guabano with the ball in. The header was down into the ground by Jesus and cleared away again by Palmeiras. Right, another one. Caio dragging it just wide, although it took a deflection. Will be a corner. Guabano will take this corner then. For Botafogo. Time is running out. They can barely look at what's going on. Guabano with the delivery. It's very high. It's brought down in the box. It's Correa, lays it off. Goes round the corner. Does Vitinho. And he wins another corner. Sliding block there from the Palmeiras player. I believe that was Anibal Moreno. We had that block. 3 minutes of the 5 remaining. Reminder for you, Benfica against Chelsea is our next one. That's at 9 o'clock this evening. That game kicks off. Another in-swinging ball in. Oh, it's fallen down. Oh, can't get a clean shot on it. It's still alive. Can't get it over the line as the keeper's got a hold of it now. That was a scramble, if there ever was one. And there's a collision, I think, between the Palmeiras goalkeeper and one of the Palmeiras defenders. I think it might have been Bruno Fuchs that was caught in between. You see this again, it's brought down, it's Jesus that has a swipe at it, and then they fail to clear the lines. The keeper comes scrambling, it's gone past him, and then he does grapple and grab it. They're calling for handball there, Botafogo, but no, there was no touch on his hand. That's not a handball. That was just a very nervy scramble that could have been more dangerous and more detrimental to Palmeiras than it ended up being. Thanks again, Andy, for the support. Great to have you with us. Thank you very much, everybody who's joining us. Running out of time, Botafogo. Moreno blocking that Arturo opportunity. Down the right side. There's less than 90 seconds remaining. Time is more than running out. Guabano with the ball into the box. The header is flicked wide, but there's going to be a foul against Botafogo there. It's going to be a free kick to Palmeiras. And now they start to believe, those fans, with just a minute left on the clock. Surely this game is theirs now for Palmeiras. Their fans are singing even louder than they were before. The belief is palpable inside Lincoln Financial Field. I said it earlier. The team that usually plays in this stadium in the latter months of the year, playing that green, is it just a stadium for teams that play in green, as Palmeiras might find the benefit of it here. A good omen. There's less than seconds that remain. It was always going to be that one was going to see the end of the road here this afternoon. One of the Brazilian sides, but there was nothing to separate them until the 100th minute. And Paulinho scored. A red card for their captain Gustavo Gomez has put another twist in the tail for Botafogo to try and grapple back. But it's surely time over. The 5 minutes is certainly up. It's now down to the referee to make a decision of when to blow the final whistle. So they work it in the midfield, trying to hold on to the ball. Here Palmeiras, down the right hand side, might try to go to the corner flag, but there's no time. It's all over. It took them a long time. It might have been a scrappy affair overall, but who cares? Palmeiras are through. They've knocked out compatriots Botafogo in the round of 16, and they will be progressing to the quarter-finals. Paulinho the hero, the number 10 in the 100th minute to make it 1-0. The finest of margins for Palmeiras in what was a scrappy, tight game. But all that matters is the final result for them and their players and their fans who have been loving the atmosphere all afternoon. But they have erupted on one side of Lincoln Financial Field. And that is a hard-fought Brazilian result. That is as Brazil as you can get. Final score after extra time, 125 minutes, probably more with all the added time that we had. It was just the one goal that separated the two. And that man Paulinho, who was only recovering from an injury, could only play 30 minutes. Well, he had the magic touch that sees Palmeiras through to the quarterfinals. Botafogo were right. Credit to them, they left their mark in this competition, beating the European champions PSG 1-0. But they couldn't beat their fellow compatriots in this one, in the knockouts. And that is the hard yards of a knockout competition. The ebbing and flowing, and the disappointment in the end for Botafogo. But they had more than enough time to try and fix that, and they couldn't in the end. Right, that is it. Final score after extra time, Palmeiras 1, Botafogo 0. And we are about to leave you. We will be back in double quick time. We will be back in about just over an hour's time, because we have another round of 16 tie for you to look forward to. Benfica against Chelsea is our second offering of the day in the round of 16, and it is an all-European battle as the Portuguese side Benfica take on the English side Chelsea. That's tonight, 9 o'clock on LFS. Right, so that is it from us. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been great. It wasn't the most kind of exciting of games in terms of goals, but in the end it was the magic moment from Paulinho that sees Palmeiras through to the quarterfinals. We'll see you very shortly. Bye bye.